Shalom, shalom. Let me check the sound and make sure it's good, and we'll start. Shalom, shalom. Okay, sounds good. So, shalom, shalom. Kal halaimala, Yahweh ba'ashem Yahushai, ba'ashem Rachak Wadash, Barak, Kal Akim, wa Sequanium, wa Malakim, wa Kahanium, wa Chasararium, wa Akwath. Shalom, shalom. Before I get giving all praise, honor, and glory unto Yahweh ba'ashem Yahushai, and double honors unto the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who do rule well and teach well. Shalom unto the elders and the other bishops of Great Millstone as well. Shalom, shalom. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings unto the hopeful elect, the men, women, and children, listening and learning from the servants of prophet Yahweh ba'ashem Yahushai, and a hearty shalom to the sincere brethren laboring across the four winds of the earth, giving diligence to make their calling and election sure. Shalom, shalom. So this lesson is going to be Causeth, Volume 5. We're going to go over a few articles that pertain to biblical prophecy, tied on into the scriptures. I'm going to play a couple of videos that ties in to the lesson, and Adon Rathazah, Yahweh Rathazah, the lesson's edifying and reaches the ears of the hopeful elect. So we'll read this real quick and we'll start. This is social engineering, which is happening through, the medium, which is, Esau, Edom's media, which he uses to do hypnosis, cast spells and enchantments on the general public. And 96% of the media is actually owned by Amalek. Right here, as you can see, Amalek owns 96% of the media. Fox News, Disney, Sony, Paramount, Comcast, so on and so forth. And there's only two nations of people who would have dominion over the whole earth: Jacob and Esau. Real quick, let's get that. This is 2nd Ezra 6, and we'll start here. This is 2nd Ezra 6, and I'll go over the precepts, as I'm bringing out information. And Lord's will the lessons edifying and reaches the ears of the hopeful elect. This is 2nd Ezra 6 and 7. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? And this is the prophet Ezra, talking to Uriel, one of the 7 holy angels, one of the 7 archangels. Then answered I and said, what shall be the parting asunder of the times? Or when shall be the end of the first and the beginning of it that followeth? And he said unto me, from Abraham and unto Isaac, when Jacob and Esau were born of him, Jacob's hand held first the heel of Esau. And we're on this devil's heels. We're on his heels to this day, on his neck right now. This is 2nd Ezra 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So Esau will be ruling in the last eon or last age, and Jacob is the beginning of the new kingdom, the last, the final frontier kingdom that will be ruling forever, the kingdom of Yasha Allah, the kingdom of Israel. And that's what we're witnessing, the transfer of rulership. And that's why all these things are happening. Let's get a couple of these articles that I have right here on the screen. This is the first article. We'll read this first. Social engineering, the use of centralized planning in an attempt to manage social change and regulate the future development and behavior of a society. And that's what Esau Edom is doing. He's using, his media and his enchantments to regulate people's thinking, and he Causeth is more than just, setting up the chipping stations. It's how you can have access to, goods, the access to goods, what you can say and what you can't say, how people behave, how people view you, so on and so forth. Setting up the social credit system, the QR codes, the central bank digital currencies, cutting off the food supply, that's all a part of Causeth, using enchantments, witchcraft, sorcery, lies, deception, Peer pressure, pressure from above, pressure from below. This is social engineering again, the use of centralized planning in an attempt to manage and change and regulate the future development and behavior of a society. Let's go into this first article. I'll read all the headers for all the articles I'm going to go over. New Zealand, this came out today. This actually sparked a lesson. This was passed to me by the beloved brother Tazamak, who's a part of the Watchman on the Coast camp down here in San Diego. And the header of the article, which came from newspunch.com, reads, New Zealand announces plans to imprison citizens who cause offense online. And this is breaking news that just came out today. And if you look this up, this is actually in the works in New Zealand. Let me click on this real quick. This came from newzealandherald.co.nz. Curie Allen, and that's this lady right here. That's this lady right here. I'll just Slakia. Trying to get me to subscribe. That's this lady right here. Curie Allen. I'll read this first paragraph. Let me see. Yep, New Zealand has announced plans to arrest and imprison citizens who spread hate speech on social media. New Zealand's Justice Minister, Curie Allen, announced that she will introduce new legislation before the next election to target users who offend others online. And this is the actual article right here from newzealand.co. Curie Allen targets hate speech suppression as she settles into justice portfolio. Let's get a quick precept right here. This is because eventually they're going to come after the prophets. This is all a setup, in the form of, through gradualism. And it's actually Yahweh Bashim Yahshai setting the stage for the famine of the word. This is Psalm 73:9. They set their mouth against the heavens and their tongue walketh through the earth, spreading lies, spreading their wine. But ultimately, they're going to set their mouth against the heavens as far as the elect and accuse the brethren, of everything under the sun. And that's why, they're demonizing Kyrie Irving, in on Sports Center. Literally on the past few days, I've been watching Sports Center. I don't know why, but they literally been bashing this guy, Kyrie Irving, man. You had, what's that dude's name, man? Who used to play for the Celtics? Kendrick, whatever his name is, the dude with the beard, that's on First Take. He was saying, Kyrie Irving's dumb. You had, I want to say Richard Jefferson, clowning him too. And ultimately, that's going to come a hundredfold to the men who actually have the truth, because Kyrie Irving doesn't have the truth, and whether that thing is sincere or not, we'll see. We'll see. But this is Psalm 73:9. They set their mouth against the heavens and their tongue walketh through the earth, spreading iniquity, their wine, their philosophy. We'll get some of this article in a second, but I'll go over all these articles. And shalom to anybody in the comment board. Yahweh Shem Yashab Barakatah Watam. I'll get this precept real quick. And this may be long-winded, but I'm going to go over a lot of information, and Lord's will is edifying. This is Amos 8:11. Behold, the days come, saith Yahweh Shem Yashab, power, that I will send a famine in the land, not a famine of bread nor a thirst of water, but of hearing the word of the Lord. That's what it's all going to lead to. Let's go over these articles real quick, one by one, as far as the headers. So this is the first article. We'll go through this article in detail and the next two articles in detail, and we'll skim through the rest because it's a lot of articles I'm going to go by. No, we're going to go by, but yeah, this is the first article, newspunch.com. New Zealand announces plans to imprison citizens who cause offense online. We're going to go into that and the New Zealand.co article as well. This is the next article. And this came out a few days ago. YouTube announces new certification protocol for videos containing medical information. Everything must align with WHO dictates. We're going to play a little bit of Event 201 because this was all in the works, has all been in the works, for quite some time, and they had a simulation of this whole event that took place October 14th, 2019. We're going to play some of this, but I'm just going to show you. I'm showing you these articles one by one before we go into it, in depth. This is the next article. Slucky. It's the next one right here, I believe. Yep. I'll just read the header from each one. Newspunch.com. This one came out a few days ago, October 31st. And this one came out a few days ago, October 31st. Global digital IDs are coming to America and nobody is allowed to talk about it. And what are they doing right now? They're running the smear campaign on, Kanye, Kyrie Irving, and you have certain celebrities, Stephen A. Smith, and other men, taking sides in this thing. You're going to have other celebrities, take sides as far as condemning those men. And ultimately, that's going to happen to us. You're going to have your family members looking to turn you in. Other family members may come into the truth, your friends, so on and so forth. It's all a sneak preview of what's to happen as far as the bigger picture. And it's actually Yahweh Bashim Yahshai setting everything up, setting the stage for the final acts, in his movie, the final prophecies. Next article. Actually, that ties into that. I'm just going to read these headers one by one. This is Blacklisted News. This came out the other day. DHS leaks starting in 2020. Department of Homeland Security began meeting with Twitter, Facebook, Wikipedia, and more monthly to coordinate content moderation efforts. And that was in 2020. And this Event 201 conference simulation happened in October 2019, 2 months before you start seeing the news, fear porn from CNN, Fox News, and so on and so forth. Next article, Department of Homeland Security. This came out today. Engage in treasonous collusion with Twitter and Facebook to censor Americans, bombshell report reveals. Next article. Revealed shocking new report uncovers massive collusion. Basically the same thing, just different words. Big tech and federal government to stifle conservatives under guise of fighting misinformation. And that term misinformation started to roll out heavy after the pandemic. Next article. This is a biometric update, a very good source when it comes to going into the MOTB and the gradualism of digital IDs, biometric payments, implants, so on and so forth. This is biometricnews.com. This came out yesterday. GBG certified to UK digital ID trust scheme for compliant right to work DBS checks. And this is a pretty juicy article. I read the first few paragraphs. I'll read it right now because this ties into eventually what's coming down the line, and we know what's coming down the line. London-based GBG. What's GBG? Let's look it up real quick. Let's go back to the article. Should pull up another window. London-based GBG has become the latest firm to obtain certification for the UK government's digital ID and attributes trust framework. The move makes GBG an officially recognized digital identity service provider under DIATF, and we will see the company provide digital identity verification services for right to work, right to rent, and DBS checks via its GBG Identify product. What's GBG? GBG achieves government trust framework certification. That's really all we need to see, man. We know where this is going. And call on the Yahweh Bashim Yashai. These things have to happen. And we're here, man. Digital identity and social media, the big picture. And we know what this ties into, the social credit system. Let me see. Where are we at? Yep. Next article. Big Brother's playbook. And we know where this is going. Next one. Scotland plans public engagement on digital identity development system. This came out today. Another one that came out a few days ago. Niger launches Wori project to issue biometric ID for regional trade and public services. All roads lead to the MOT to the B. Next article. United Arab Emirates, largest bank and retailer, launched biometric payment card from Idemia and IDEX. I actually have a video right here from my channel that I put up a few months ago, 7 months ago, that shows Idemia and what they're all about. We'll play that a little later on. And Idemia is identity as leader in identity technologies is on a mission to unlock the world and make it safer, bringing people closer and closer to the digital all. Next article. National digital ID clears congressional hurdle amid fears it could be politically abused. And this came out last week, October 27th. I'm just going over news. We'll go into the scriptures in a second. The big tech companies are telling us exactly where the economy is headed in 2023. All roads lead to the MOT to the B. Last article. Let me see if I had anything right here. It's all good. It's pretty much it for the articles. Just wanted to read the headers. Yep. Yep. So let's get into it. So let's go to Revelation 12 and 12 real quick. Let's read the header for this article one more time. New Zealand announces plans to imprison citizens who cause offense online. We'll get this one first. This is Revelation 2 and 10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil, Esau Edom, shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days, a complete amount of days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Because you're going to have, a good number of men, better yet, be actually tried by being thrown in prison, being persecuted for this word. The Lord gave warning, of these times, beautiful times that we're in, because all things have to be fulfilled. This is Revelation 12 and 12. Rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having good wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. And that's why all these things are happening. This man is trying to crown his enterprise. Let's go to Psalms real quick. 3, 12. It reads 33 and 10. But this is Psalms 33 and 10, and it reads, the Lord bringeth the counsel of the heathen to naught. He maketh the devices of the people of none effect on the elect. And their whole new world order and everything that they have planned is going to come to naught. But we still have to give warning. We have to give you guys, are we there yet updates? And we're here, man. This is the first article. So New Zealand plans to imprison citizens who cause offense online. Let's go into the second paragraph. New Zealand's Justice Minister, Carrie Allen, announced that she will introduce new legislation before the new election to target users who offend others online. Let's go into the newzealand.co article real quick. We'll get the first 3 paragraphs. So after years of debate over whether New Zealand should have a law more explicitly banning hate speech, that's a trending topic as of late, and the government of Canada, they launched the first one that I noticed that was like a major move for that, in the form of fining those who basically those who say hateful things online. I think about $16,000 in Canada or something like that last year. Brothers did videos on it. I did a video on it as well. That was the first one I noticed, that as far as the first nation that I noticed that started doing that. The header one more time. Carrie Allen targets hate speech suppression as she settles into justice portfolio. So after years of debate over whether New Zealand should have a law more explicitly banning hate speech, the government is on the verge of announcing legislation, laws. Let's get a quick precept. This is Isaiah 10 and 1. Woe unto them that decree unrighteous decrees and write grievousness which they are prescribed, and woe means destruction. But ultimately, it's biblical prophecy that this man has to, push forth unrighteous decrees, come down with great wrath, accuse the brethren, all to naught. Let's get this paragraph real quick. This is the second paragraph. So that's a quote unquote promise, according to Justice Minister Kiri Allen, as she told TV New Zealand's Q&A today. She has taken a hard look at New Zealand's often criticized name suppression laws. I will be making an announcement on hate speech by the end of this year, and you're going to have a lot of other nations follow suit with the same type of legislations. You know, the MP said as she briefly, and that MP stands for, let me see, I want to get it real quick. It's right up here, I believe. Yep, the Justice Minister, you know. Slocky. I'll just go back to the article, my bad. The MP said, as she briefly addressed the issue during her first appearance on the Current Affairs program since taking over the Justice portfolio in June, I guarantee that I'll be introducing a law that I intend to have concluded and put into law by next election. But what that law will entail remains to be seen, you know, the black box. But some of those details were in the other article. We'll get those. See if brothers got precepts. I'll just get them as they come. Let's keep it going, though. Because when I read this article, I was like, this is interesting. We'll get this point while it's hot. This is social engineering, the use of centralized planning in an attempt to manage social change and regulate the future development and behavior of a society. And that's what they did right here with this Event 201. We're going to play this in a second, but I want to get this article as far as the meat and potatoes. We'll skip through the main points. Come on. Slovakia. So New Zealand announces plans to imprison citizens who cause offense online. New Zealand has announced plans to arrest and imprison citizens who spread hate speech on social media. They're, getting laws ready for it, and ultimately you're going to have other nations do the same thing. New Zealand Justice Minister Kiri Allen announced that she will introduce a new legislation before the new election to target users who offend others online. Let's keep on reading. Speaking at the UN, Prime Minister Justin Ardern has argued that the regulation of speech is more important than the right of free speech. And you have a lot of the other, puppets for the wicked elite saying the same thing. Klaus Schwab, Yuval Noah Harari, so on and so forth. According to Ardern, hate speech includes the promotion of non-stream views, anything the government seems to be disinformation and ideas that undermine the government. Get one more. See, I don't think I read Revelation 12 and 12. Again, in case I didn't get it. This is Revelation 12 and 12, and it reads, yeah, I don't think I read it. Might have read it. This is Revelation 12 and 12, in case I didn't read it. Therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. And the heavens is symbolic for the elect, the hope for the elect, because we're the only ones that are happy that these things are happening. You have a lot of people, when they see these things happening, they're in the woe is me spirit, because they don't have understanding that, these things have to happen to fulfill biblical prophecy so our Lord can come redeem us. This is Revelation 12 and 12 again from the top. Therefore rejoice ye heavens and ye that dwell in them. This truth. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, everybody outside this truth, for the devil Esau Edom has come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he had but a short time. Back to the article. So exposednews.com reports, so what does the Labor government mean by hate speech? Most might agree about terrorism and violent extremism, which they're calling us, But how will Allen define them, and how much else is she seeking to censor? How far is Labor going to promote these views? Speaking at the UN, Arden said, How do you ensure human rights of others are upheld when they are only subject to hateful and dangerous rhetoric and ideology? Let's go into these key points that they're talking about. I'll read this. I'll speed read it. Given the political talk that proposed hate speech legislation has rumbled on during the last 2 years of the pandemic, what do Arden's governments think contributes harmful rhetoric, ideology, and disinformation on social media? And those are all points that were brought up at event 201. You know, I actually have a clip. I actually have the timestamp marked of what I want to play, because that was said in segment 4 from 7:52 to 17:28, 20 minutes and 30 seconds to 31 minutes flat. And they were talking about how they want to regulate how information goes out, disinformation, misinformation. And this was aired November 4th. I started seeing this being talked about like in November, December, because I was looking into this when this first happened. And this actually happened October 14th, 2019. This conference happened, which is a simulation of what actually played out in the months following. I'm going to play some of this and you'll see. And these articles all pertain to this, you know. The first few articles pertain to this. Real quick, let's get some more meat off the bone of this article. The short answer could be whatever the government says. This is a very broad brush being applied. When it comes to the CV-19, yesterday's information is very much today's disinformation. You know, in February, government-sponsored research. I don't even know that. I don't know how to say this dude's name. Tipuhana Matani. Yeah, Matatini designed a range of CV-19 topics as conspiracies. That's another buzzword they're using. Conspiracy theorists, radicalists. These included herd immunity, close comparisons between the flu and the DVOC 91, severe adverse effects of the DVOC 91, Dragon Kool-Aid, benefits of vitamins for DVOC 91 treatment, high prevalence of asymptomatic. You see that word right here. I got to be careful. Overestimates of people dropping. What's that? They call it SADS, sudden adult death syndrome. Overestimates of sudden death adult syndrome, because many people are dropping with the pandemic, and not because of it. Bioengineered lab leak, origin of this DVOC 91, and involvement of foreign powers in its development. Crucially, all these topics have since proved to be within the range of scientific investigation and verification. These are not sea theories, as government scientists previously insisted, but they have been found to occur. Basically, what they're saying and what they've been actually having to admit is that they freaking lied, man. You know, the government has been using existing powers to suppress discussion on these scientific concepts. It also pushed social media companies like YouTube and Meta to delete such material. And, you know, just personally speaking, I lost 2 channels in 30 days, you know, because they were doing this. And other brothers, elders, you know, apostles have lost numerous channels, you know, talking on these same talking points. Incredibly, rather than admitting error, the government is now seeking more powers to suppress more ideas that amounts to nothing less than social engineering, which is, you know, right here. Real quick, let's get some more points out of this article. Let me see. Where's that? Yep. This amounts to nothing less than social engineering and the repression of political dissent. You know, real quick, let's get the next point. I'll get this right here. This is despite recently published evidence on pointing to safety concerns, do politicians and mainstream media still hold outdated views? Unfortunately, the answer appears is yes. So let's see what it says down here. If you think the National Party will plug on the V mandates and DVOC policies, if they are elected next year, think again, yada, yada, yada. Let's get this main point down here. Todd Mueller, MP, former National Party leader, for example, has a woefully out-of-date DVOC 91 blog still up on his personal page, written by Dr. Michelle Dickinson, brimming full of since disproved, and hence misleading assurances of safety. Among these, the DVOC 91 juice is not experimental. Yes, it is. The DVOC 91 juice is not genetically engineered. They've had to admit it is. Long-term safety is assured. They've admitted it's not. The DVOC 91 juiced are overwhelmingly responsible for spreading the DVOC. Well, they've said that in a roundabout way, if you've been paying attention. The DVOC 91 juice does not reduce fertility or affect pregnancy. They've had to say that was a lie, in a roundabout way. The DVOC 91 juice are 96% less likely to be hospitalized with DVOC, and the mRNA DVOC juice cannot alter your DN to the ISA. They've had to admit that, So I just wanted to get those points in the article. Let's see if I get any more meat, because I sort of read through this, but I didn't read the whole thing. So the word conspiracy is being misused to imply ignorance, and that's exactly what they're doing. They're using the term conspiracy to basically demonize anybody who's criticizing their points. Let's get this real quick. Revelation 2:10 again, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that you may be tried, and you shall have tribulation 10 days. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Let's get Micah, the 2nd chapter, real quick. This is Micah 2:1, and it reads, woe unto them that devise iniquity and work evil upon their beds. When the morning is light, they practice it, because it is in the power of their hand. Why? Because the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. I actually had that right here, I believe. What's that right here? Yep. I was going to go more in depth, but we'll get that in a second. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? And the wicked is the nation of Esau, Edom. For anybody that says the so-called white man isn't the wicked, well, through the precepts, you get understanding, and you understand that this man is the wicked, And what he's doing in the earth proves that he's the wicked. The history, if you go into, different accounts and whatnot, and what this man is doing in the earth, it proves that he's the wicked. It's the same thing that Esau, Edom was doing, back in the day, This is Psalms 119 and 104, real quick. Psalms 119 and 104, through thy precepts I get understanding, therefore I hate every false way. And through the precepts, you'll understand that this man is Esau, Edom, the border of wickedness. Let's get that in Malachi, the 1st chapter, real quick. Malachi, the 1st chapter. I'll keep this up because I may go back here. The burden of the word of Yahweh Shem Yahshai to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, said the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshai. He say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, saith the Lord? Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, and we will return and build the desolate places, the Roman Empire. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shem Yahshai of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. That's eventually going to happen. Their kingdom is going to be cast down. And they shall call them, not just Esau, Edom, but his descendants, the border of wickedness, and the people, and the people against whom the Lord had indignation forever. We'll go back here in a second when I get this. Let me see. It's a blank tab. We'll get this in a second, and we'll get some other precepts that match up with that. Let's get this next article real quick. So YouTube announced a certification protocol for videos containing medical information. Everything must align with WHO dictates. Let's go to Job 13 and 4 real quick. Get this on deck. We'll read some of this article. Let's go through this, though, because this is interesting. When I read this, I'm like, wow. So this is an article that came out Monday, October 31st, 2022. And it reads, in a recent announcement, Dr. Garth Graham, YouTube's global head of health, indicated fresh attempts are being made to censor even more content on the Google-owned streaming platform, making politicians their own protected class and shadow banning unapproved content is not just cutting it anymore, Graham suggested. YouTube Health, wow, has been working on additional ways to help doctors, nurses, mental health professionals, and healthcare information providers to bring high quality health information into spaces that people visit throughout their day. Like their favorite video sharing app, Graham wrote in a blog post, the new plan involves certain approved medical professionals to be labeled as certified or reliable on the platform. That way viewers know they are looking at authoritative sources, Graham revealed. Any YouTube user, physician or otherwise, who spreads anything deemed as medical misinformation will not receive the certified or reliable label. Without that label, Graham and the other higher ups at YouTube hope that viewers will pass on by and look for something else to watch. And this is all gradualism to what's going on in New Zealand, you know, gradualism to what's eventually going to come down the pipe. And they're doing this in New Zealand, They said, to hell with that. We just going to come hard body. These three agencies, what three agencies? Let's read this. YouTube had decided to become everyone's doctor. Let's get Job 13:4 real quick. I had it over here. I think I did. Okay, yeah, this is Job 13:4. And he reads, but ye are forgers of lies. Ye are all physicians of no value. And each one of these doctors, they have to take what's called, I have it on deck right here. I had it down here. All right, erase it. Right here. Slocky. Each one of these doctors, professionals, they have to take what's called a hypocritical oath, And with the hypocritical oath, we'll get in a second, they have to swear, I'll just read this real quick since I got it right here and I'm talking about it. The hypocritical oath, I swear to fulfill to the best of my ability and judgment, this covenant. What covenant? I respect the hardworking scientific gains of those physicians in whose steps I walk, and gladly share such knowledgeable as is mine with those who are to follow. I will apply for the benefit of the sick all measures which are required, avoiding the twin traps and overtreatment of therapeutic nihilism. But this is the point right here, because this is the more in-depth one. They actually take a hypocritical oath to the healing gods of the Greeks and the Romans. Asclepius, Apollo, Hygeia, Panacea. Those are the healing gods of the Greeks and the Romans. Proving that this is the same nation of people, man, because who were most of your health professionals? It's Esau, Edom. That's who owns, the hospitals and so on and so forth, man. Amalek, man. Let's read this first paragraph. This is what the doctors, physicians of no value, go by. They take what's called an oath of Hippocrates, and it says, this is what they say. I swear by Apollo, the physician, and Asclepius. That's what's on all of your, it's also on the World Health Organization logo. I'll just show it to you. Anybody who's new, we'll go back into the article. That's what you have on all, the medical, the whole medical field. It's on the ambulance, it's on the hospitals. And if you go to the World Health Organization logo, real quick, it's on there as well. Come on, man, with that bullshit, man. Slocky. It's right there as well. And you got eagle's wings around it with the world. Let's get Job 9:24 again. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. He made himself to be the face of righteousness, which is blasphemy, iconoclasm. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked for a short time. The devil must be loose for a little season, He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Let's get Revelation 20 real quick. Oh, it's hot. This on deck real quick. Let's go back to this though, because this is ultimately what's on, all of your hospitals and whatnot. Asclepius, man. Let's go to all. Yep, Asclepius is a hero of God and medicine in ancient Greek religion and mythology. He is the son of Apollo and Corneus and Arasani, of Apollo alone. And this is actually Esau Edom, mocking Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Let's get John 3 real quick. Yep, this is John 3 and 14. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up. Whosoever believeth in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. Because, you had, our people, you had Jake, who were getting bit up by serpents, and then what did the Heavenly Father do? He told Moses, to, let's get it real quick. Yeah, Jake getting eat up by serpents, and then what happened was, real quick, let's get this next point, Salakia. I don't want to get carried away. This is Job 13. That serpent is symbolic of Yahweh Shai on the right-hand side, the serpent in the wilderness. This is Job 13:4 in the KJV. But ye are forgers of lies, ye are all physicians of no value. If you read the NLT, Job 13:4 in the NLT, as for you, you smearing with lies, as physicians, ye are all worthless quacks. Going into this man in this medical field, Back to here real quick. So that's what these doctors take right here. I will make them my judges, and this my and this is like it that this my oath and this my witness written engagement I will fulfill so far as power and discernment shall be mine. And that's what they take when they get sworn in as far as being a physician of no value. So let's go down here. These three agencies, what three agencies? The Council of Medical Specialty Societies, the National Academy of Medicine, and the World Health Organization. So let's read this. The way a doctor can receive YouTube certified or reliable label is by submitting his or her medical license to the tech giant and swearing to follow the best practices set forth by groups like the Council of Medical Specialty Societies and the National Academy of Medicine and the World Health Organization. These three agencies, Graham Post further explains, were directly involved in coming up with the new scheme. The three entities developed these principles outlining key aspects of info sharing. Let me see. I think that was pretty much the main point. Let me see. Because I sort of skimmed through this article. I didn't read the whole thing. The main point was like what we just read. In addition to submitting one's medical license and swearing to spread only government-approved health information, doctors and medical professionals on YouTube will also need to maintain an account in good standing and follow certain other mandates. In the coming months, eligible channels that have applied through this process will be given a health source information panel that identifies them as a licensed healthcare professional, and their videos will appear in relevant search results and health content shelves. As you may recall, YouTube was playing doctor before this when the platform censored, basically our videos. Let's keep on skipping through this because I don't want to read the whole thing. The term that Rogan and McCullough received the content, the interview between Rogan and McCullough received a medical misinformation stat by YouTube, which declared that it was not credible or reliable or authoritative. And that same thing happened to a ton of our videos, man. Let me see. Yeah. There was another point I was looking to get down here, I believe. Yeah. Let me see. Oh, was it right there? So let's get this real quick. I want to play this because this happened a few months before this all happened. Let me know if you can't hear this on the comment board. Let me know if you can't hear this in the comment board, and then I can play it from my phone if need be. But let me know if you can't hear it as far as the audio, because sometimes when I try to play audio, come on, man. Restart. No, man, don't. It's locking in my computer, man. Pick a time. Oh, I'm tripping. Fuck. My bad. My computer wants to restart. Hold up. Ignore. But let me know if you can't hear this audio, because I'm going to play this video and it goes into event 201 and it speaks for itself. So let me know if you can't hear it. If you can't hear it, I'm going to play it from my phone.
Stakeholders consist of product manufacturers to logistics providers, distributors, and UN partners, including ourselves. Michael Griffin is WHO's focal point for the pandemic supply chain network, and he is there with you this week. Constant innovation and the use of cutting-edge technology is key to pandemic preparedness. In order to pool data and analytics at a global scale for disease prevention, the EpiBrain initiative, a global...
So can y'all hear that? Give me a call to WAB. Call to WAB? Okay. For some reason, when I play these videos on my backup channel, it'll play, but on my main channel, it just won't play, man. But I'll put this on big so y'all can hear it.
Data ecosystem aims to build a collaboration of big data networks to understand and predict epidemics. It supports data science, innovation for outbreak preparedness and response. Despite this progress, there is still much to be done. Cross-sectoral simulation exercises, such as the one you will be experiencing today, contribute to a better understanding of the critical gaps, the cooperation required from global businesses, response decisions required from government and public health leaders to minimize large-scale economic and societal consequences of a severe pandemic. I wish you the best of luck. We are looking forward to working with each of you to strengthen pandemic preparedness in the future. Thank you.
And our thanks to Dr. Ryan. And with that, here in New York and online, welcome to Event 201.
It began in healthy-looking pigs, months, perhaps years ago. A new coronavirus spread silently within herds. Gradually, farmers started getting sick. Infected people got a respiratory illness with symptoms ranging from mild flu-like signs to severe pneumonia. The sickest required intensive care. Many died. At first, the spread was limited to those with close contacts, healthcare personnel, co-workers, and families. But now it's spreading rapidly throughout local communities. International travel has turned local epidemics into a pandemic spanning the globe. Just 3 months ago, CAPS started in South America, but has now reached several countries with more than 30,000 cases and nearly 2,000 deaths.
Good morning, and thank you all for being part of this Pandemic Emergency Board. We're at the start of what's looking like it will be a severe pandemic, and there are problems emerging that can only be solved by global business and governments working together. The global community has been working to respond to this pandemic since its recognition, but as health and economic impacts have become more severe, the World Economic Forum has convened this board because of your combined expertise, your backgrounds, and your global voice. We will need all of you to help us respond to urgent policy crises that are emerging. The purpose of this board is to advise leaders in national governments, global business, and international organizations on the response to the pandemic, particularly focused on international problems that require collaboration between business and government. Your recommendations will be critical and will be promulgated and communicated broadly at the end of this meeting. On the left screen, as we have this meeting, you will find a dashboard of information about the pandemic that will help us in our conversations. As important background for this discussion, we want to start the meeting by viewing this news story that just aired on Global News Network.
And this is what they were doing when the pandemic first rolled out. They were doing it on CNN, and Fox News.
Continuing our coverage of the new.
And this simulation, exercise, this was done October 14th, 2019. 5 months before they started locking down cities.
Newly discovered CAPS disease and the scope of its deadly outbreaks. There are now more than 30,000 reported cases. Experts warn this may be just the beginning of a global problem. GNN science reporters have produced a video about what we know so far about CAPS, the virus, the outbreak, and the resulting chaos.
CAPS is a novel coronavirus related to those viruses that caused the frightening SARS epidemic in 2003 and the deadly MERS outbreaks in recent years. Scientists think each infected person in turn infects on average 2 more people. This disease is proving more transmissible than SARS or MERS and about as contagious as influenza. Essentially, the cumulative number of cases is doubling every week. At this rate, we can expect to see 16 times as many cases in a month unless we find a way to interrupt transmission. The virus appears to be spreading rapidly in densely populated and impoverished neighborhoods in some megacities in South America. CAPS is a serious respiratory disease. More than half of the recognized cases have required hospital care, creating a huge strain on healthcare systems. The fatality rate is about 10%. For comparison, CAPS is about as lethal as SARS and 2 to 4 times more lethal than the 1918 influenza pandemic, the worst pandemic on record. Even so, some people only exhibit mild flu-like symptoms, not requiring treatment in a hospital. Alarmingly, those people are able to walk around and spread the virus, not realizing they are doing so. Even worse, international travelers have been arriving at their destinations symptom-free, but within a matter of hours, becoming ill. Travel-related cases have blossomed into outbreaks in a number of locations and have quickly grown faster than health authorities could respond and contain them. In other places, physicians have quickly recognized the symptoms of CAPS and have been able to isolate infected individuals and avoid an outbreak, for now. Global public health experts are very concerned about this disease because it appears the virus is readily transmitted through the air from person to person. Essentially, all people are susceptible. Experts agree unless it is quickly controlled, it could lead to a severe pandemic, an outbreak that circles the globe and affects people everywhere. Models developed by leading public health authorities indicate a CAPS pandemic could lead to an outcome worse than the 1918 influenza, which killed 50 to 100 million people worldwide. Given the global population is 4 times larger than it was in 1918, if these models prove accurate, we could be looking at hundreds of millions of deaths over the next year or two.
Okay, now we're going to get a briefing on the numbers and distribution of cases by Dr. Caitlin Rivers.
As you've just heard, the outbreak is very worrisome. The vast majority of cases are occurring in Brazil and other South American countries. However, as you can see on the screen, there have been some spread to Portugal, the continental United States, and mainland China. Our models project that with continued spread in Latin America and predicted spread to additional countries, we could be looking at double the number of cases in 1 week and 16 times as many in a month if we are not able to stop the spread. That would be on the order of 500,000 cases, and it would continue to rise exponentially. In 3 months, we could be approaching 10 million cases. We are also tracking financial markets as an indicator of the economic impacts of CAPS. While markets are down worldwide in the past couple of weeks, they are still positive for the year.
Thank you, Dr. Rivers.
Once again, let's hit these points again. So these hypocritical, physicians of no value, that's the hypocritical oath that they take. Just keep on reading. So I'll remember that there is no medicine. I will remember that there is an art to medicine as well as science and warmth, sympathy, and understanding that outweigh the surgeon's knife or the chemist's drug. I will not be ashamed to say that I know not, nor I fail to call in my colleagues when the skills of another are needed for the patient's recovery. And who's the ultimate physician? It's Yahweh Shai. Now let's get this precept that I had before. So let's go to Numbers 21. Let's get John 3 real quick. Let's get Sirach 38. This is Job 13:4. But ye are forgers of lies, ye are all physicians of no value. Let's get Psalms 103 real quick. This is the point I was meant to hit earlier, but I didn't want to get carried away. I just wanted to let that video play first. Let's get it's lucky. I'll go back here. The book of St. John, the 3rd chapter, real quick. We'll get Numbers 21 first. So this is Numbers 21. I'll start from 2. And Israel vowed a vow unto Yahweh Bashem Yahshai and said, if thou wilt need it, deliver this people into my hand, and I will utterly destroy their cities. And the Lord hearkened unto the voice of Israel, and delivered up the Canaanites, and they utterly destroyed them and their cities. And he called the name of the place Hormah. And they journeyed from the Mount Hor by the way of the Red Sea to compass the land of Edom. And the soul of the people which much discouraged because of the way. And the people spake against the Most High and against Moses. So they were murmuring. Wherefore have ye brought us up out of Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no bread, neither is there any water. And our soul loatheth this light bread. And our soul loatheth this light bread. And the Lord sent fiery serpents among the people, and they bit the people, and much of the people of Israel died. Let's get 1 Corinthians 10. Real quick, because that matches up with this. This is 1 Corinthians 10. Yep. This is 1 Corinthians 10:4. But many of them was the Most High not well pleased, for they were overthrown in the wilderness. Now these things were examples to the intent that we should not lust after evil things, as they also lusted. They wanted to go back to Egypt. They wanted to fish. They wanted to go back to Egypt and be demons. Neither be idolaters, as some of them, as was written, the people sat down to eat and drink and rose up to play. Neither let us commit fornication, as some of them committed, fell in one day 23,000. Neither let us tempt Hamashiach, as some of them also tempted and were destroyed of serpents. Neither murmur as ye as some of them also murmured, and they were destroyed of the destroyer, Yahweh Shai. Let's go to Numbers 21 again. Therefore, the people came to Moses and said, we have sinned, for we have spoken against Yahweh Bashim Shai and against thee. Pray unto the Lord and take away the serpents from us. And Moses prayed for the people, and the Lord said unto Moses, take thee a fiery serpent and set it upon a pole. And it shall come to pass that everyone that is bitten, when he looketh upon it, shall live. And Moses made a serpent of brass and put it upon a pole. And it came to pass that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he had beheld the serpent of brass, he lived. And the serpent is symbolic of intelligence, and Yahweh Shai is symbolic of this serpent of brass, And Moses made a serpent of brass, and put it on a pole. And it came to pass that if a serpent had bitten any man, when he beheld the serpent of brass, he lived. Back to John the 3rd chapter, real quick. This is Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, John 3:14. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up. And that's what we're doing, in the form of we're lifting up the doctrine of Yahweh Bashim Shai, we're lifting up his name, and ultimately through us doing that, our people are being healed, and they're given the oracles of life. Whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have eternal life. And that's what the serpent in the wilderness, was symbolic of, Yahweh Shai. I'll read it again one more time just to bring the point home. This is John the 3rd chapter and the 14th verse. And as Moses lifted up the serpent in the wilderness, even so must the Son of Man be lifted up. And Moses was a prophet, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have eternal life. Eternal life. Back to Psalms 103 real quick. I think I had that on deck. Just want to hit these points real quick. Let's go to Psalms 103 real quick. This is Psalms 103. And I'll start from the top. Blessed be the Lord, O my soul. All that is within me, bless his holy name. Bless the Lord, O my soul. Forget not all his benefits, who forgiveth all thine iniquities, who healeth all thy diseases, who redeemeth thy life from destruction, who crowneth thee with a loving kindness and tender mercies. And ultimately, that's what's going to happen. He's going to redeem our life from destruction. You saw Edom coming in like a flood, the slander, the lies, the deception, the MOT to the B, the hour of temptation. This is Sirach 38:1. Honor a physician with the honor due unto him for the uses which he have of him, for the Lord had created him. For of the Most High cometh healing, and he shall receive honor of the king. Ultimately, the physician is Yahweh Shai. Real quick. Yeah, let's go on to this real quick. So yeah, that's a point I was looking to get down here. We'll get this right here. This is global IDs are coming to America, and nobody is allowed to talk about it. Ultimately, you saw Edom putting the squeeze on society from the top on down to the bottom. Pressure from above, pressure from below. This is the article. It came out October 31st, 2022. Congress has taken a huge step towards rolling out digital IDs for U.S. citizens, fulfilling the wishes for the World Economic Forum and Bill Gates. And there has hardly been a whisper about the major development in the mainstream media. That's the bait and switch. Real quick. This is 2 Ezra 8:27. And it reads, regard not the wicked inventions of the heathen, but the desire of those that keep thy testimonies in afflictions. We're not supposed to regard, this man's technology, bow down to it, worship it. And this is that new idol that they're looking to push down, Israel's throat. Their technology, their science, their witchcraft, their pharmakia, their digital grid. real quick, let's go into this article because this is this the one that goes in? Yeah, this is the one that goes in, I believe. Yeah, this is the one that goes in. So this is a really good article right here. I'll actually leave this as a link in the description to anybody that I got it as a link in the description, but I'll leave it as a link right here in case anybody wants to check it out. It's a really good article, man. It goes in. So we can take that down. Let my computer run faster. Got that point. It's like it. Oh man, come on, B. It's like it. Gotta get that one. That one was fire. Come on, man. Slack it. Bear with me. Oh, that was October 31st. It came out. So I gotta go to page 4. Yeah, right here. Boom. See right here. Slack it. All these windows up. Close some of these down. Let's go back here though, real quick. Put it right here next to here because that's the next point. I could take that down. Oh shit. We already went over that one. Okay, come on. It's like I got all these windows. So let me take some of these down. Okay. I can take that one down. I may go back here. So this is newspunch.com. So global digital IDs are coming to America and nobody's allowed to talk about it. This is Congress has taken a huge step towards rolling out digital IDs for U.S. citizens, fulfilling the wishes of the World Economic Forum and Bill Gates, also Klaus Schwab. And it's actually the plans of the wicked elite, you know, the Rothschilds, you know, the Rothschild banking family of England, you know, and their constituents. And to take it one step further, it's actually the plans of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai. It's the Heavenly Father's chip, you know. It's ultimately our temptation and a trial and a test of our faith, you know, the ultimate test. And there has been hardly a whisper about the major development in the mainstream media because everybody's focused on, a lot of people's eyes are focused on the smear campaign, you know, while they're rolling out the digital technocracy right behind everybody's back that's not paying attention. It's almost as though the globalist elite have instructed their minions, Klaus Schwab, Yuval Noah Harari, Elon Musk, you know, Bill Gates. Those are all the fall guys, you know, for the wicked elites. It's almost as though the globalist elite have instructed their minions in the mainstream media to keep quiet about the plans for global domination. And once again, the media is owned by Amalek, you know? And anybody that says the so-called white man isn't the devil, isn't Shaitan, you know, well, who else is on TV, you know, telling you, you know, I mean, Japhet, because a lot of these guys, they'll subscribe to the doctrine that Japhet is the so-called white man. Well, reality check, Japhet isn't mentioned or a major player in end-time prophecy. It's Esau, Edom, you know? That we take that down. Let's go into this article because this is a good one. Because when I read this whole one, I read this article in its entirety. This is the one I really did read in its entirety. Since the beginning of the pandemic, efforts have been underway in advancing digital information systems, and that's what all these articles are going into as far as biometric. GBG certified to UK digital trust scheme for compliant right to work DBS checks. You know. The next one for biometric update. This is a really good source. Scotland plans digital engagement for digital identity. Scotland plans public engagement on digital identity system development. Niger, which is in Africa, launches Worry project to issue biometric ID for regional trade and public services. United Arab Emirates, largest bank and retailer, launched biometric payment card from IDEMIA and IDEX. And you also have the largest bank in Australia, the Commonwealth Bank of Australia. They have a social credit system that's linked to a carbon footprint. That's the largest bank in Australia, I believe. Yep. Let's go back to this article though. This is let's go to Psalms real quick. Get another precept. Don't want to let too long roll by without bringing out some precepts. It's like I'm a little all over the place, but I wanted to get this lesson done because when I was reading these articles, I was like, man, I gotta put something together on this, Lord's will, So it's lucky if I'm a little all over the place, but hey, Lord's will, you get edified. That's the main point. This is Psalms 21:8. Thy hand shall find out all thy enemies, and thy right hand find out those that hate thee. And that's what's happening through this word going out. I think it's a 10. Yep, 11. I'll just keep on reading. Thou shalt make them as a fiery oven in the time of thy anger. The Lord shall swallow them up in his wrath. The fire shall devour them. And before the physical fiery oven devours them, the word is going to devour them, which is also fire. This is Psalms 21:10. Their fruit shall they destroy from the earth, and their seed from among the children of men. And that's ultimately what's going to happen to Esau Edom. He's going to beat Obadiah 1:18 after 1,000 years of captivity. For they intend evil against thee. They imagine a mischievous device which they are not able to perform. That MOT to the B. And all roads lead to the Charagma. That's what this article is going into. It goes in, but just read it. In 2020, the World Economic Forum rolled out plans for the CV-19 pass, and the first country that actually launched the CV-19 pass in the form of the Green Pass was Israel. I think if not number one, number two. I believe it was number one though, which required users to have their blood screened at a approved DVOC 91 laboratory. Let's keep on reading. Now in the midst of the media blackout, a proposed national digital ID system for U.S. citizens is fast becoming a reality following a vote by the U.S. Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs Committee to advance improving the Digital Identity Act. And that's what's right here on the screen. This came out last year, June 2021, Improving Digital Identity Act of 2021. This is already in the books. It's introduced, Esau Edom already has it in the cut, waiting, This is the next few paragraphs. I'll skim through this. In simple language, a digital identity enables an individual to prove who they are in the virtual world, eventually coming into the form of the MOT to the B, all through gradualism. Proponents claim digital IDs offer greater privacy than traditional forms of identification, the convenience factor, and can help minimize some of the risk associated with physical documents, such as driver's licenses. And they're also saying that for children, in the form of if you have your child, implanted, you can track them, like they're a dog or something, man, And that was gradualism, having people, put the device in their dogs and their pets, that was all gradualism as well. Getting people used to the concept and idea of putting that device, inside their pets. All of a sudden, you can wave your card at the store. You can wave your hand. All of a sudden, we need to put it inside you. It's safety. It's for your safety. It can cure you. It can give you this and it can give you that. We'll put money on your device. If you telling those guys in the corner who are out there, preaching the name of Yahweh Bashim Shai, they're dangerous, so on and so forth. That's what's going to lead up to, ultimately all biblical prophecy. Although others are quick to sound the alarm, warning that the introduction of digital IDs will almost lead certainly to an erosion of civil liberties. Let's get the point right down here. Let me see if it says anything good right here. Let's go down here. This is the points right here. Similarly, digital IDs are vulnerable to attack. Horror stories involving people's identities being stolen are not common. It's lucky. Remember, digital IDs are synonymous with data. If there's one thing hackers love, is data, especially the data of U.S. citizens. And anybody that took that juice, you're a part of their data system. You are basically a trackable, ownable device. You are a genetically modified organism. You know, there was actually an article that we brought out at camp yesterday going into that. And I shared it with the brother. I'll just pull it up right here. I'll read the first 2 paragraphs on that because I'm bringing up the point. Let's just bring it out. Natural News, and this is an article that came out yesterday because I was reading it at camp. Real quick, it's down here somewhere. Bear with me 1 second. Is that it? No, that ain't it. 1 second, hold on. Man, come on, B. You know what? You know what I can do? I'll just do it. Let's see, I may be able to click on the comment board and get it from my phone and put it on the comment board. Let me see what date it came out. Hold on 1 second. I want to see what date it came out because I got it right here. I sent it to the brother yesterday and we read it. Send bio, yeah. When did it come out? November 1st. Okay, gotta go next page. Real quick, I just want to get this article since I'm talking about it, you know. Real quick, November 1st. Yeah, boom, this one right here. This is a symbiotic borgification. Interesting. Infiltration of the human race. It's way beyond infertility. I'm curious, what the hell does this mean? Infertility in general. Infertility is defined as not being able to get pregnant or conceive after a year of unprotected sex. Wow. Basically, he's hacking you. And Depop. Humans are hosting a nanoscale computational platform. That's what that juice is, you know, basically making you, a GMO, you know, a product of him, basically. Symbio means synthetic biology. If a corporation develops gene altering technology that gets put inside you into your body and permanently alters your chromosomes, you to be something other than fully human, that's what you are. You know, you're a genetically modified organism. They have turned you into a part synthetic organism, a GMO, under existing U.S. law and core precedent that corporations may have an intellectual property to claim your physical body, which would make you a slave to that corporation. A legal war is being fought to determine whether mRNA jump shots that alter human chromosomes confer intellectual property ownership rights to that GMO to the corporation that intended the jump shot. Attorney Todd Callender is currently engaged in this legal battle to secure the status of self-ownership of your own body. Wow. A principle which the entire philosophy of freedom belongs, you know? Let's see. Let's take it back over here. Let's see. Let's get some more out of here. So this is some have speculated that the introduction of digital IDs and passports to the U.S. is laying the infrastructure of a social credit system, and he calls it. Let's just get that real quick because I had it right here on deck. Had it down here somewhere. This is Revelation 13 and 16, and he calls it. That word Causeth is poeo, and for anybody that's new, let's just run through it. I'll read the precept in its entirety. Let me go back. We'll go here a little later. This is Revelation 13 and 16. And he causeth to set up to be the author of to get ready to fashion. Both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond to receive. That word from Marcus Carragna. We'll go into it as well a little later on. In their right hand or in their foreheads. That word for causeth is poeo. Anybody that's new, this is what it means. You want to go to the Greek and to the Greek and to the Hebrew in the blue letter and look up what the actual words mean to get a better understanding of what's being said. And that word is to make, to be the author of, the cause, to make ready, prepare, to produce, to make, to do something, be the authors of a thing, bring it out. That's what they're doing. To do, to carry out, to execute. And that's exactly what they're doing through gradualism, in the form of, what you can say, what you can't say, what you can post online, what you can't post online, how you can buy things, how you cannot buy things, who you can associate with. That's what they have in China. If you are caught associating with the person that's, a red, then you'll turn red, on that 19 app. And when you turn red, that's no bueno, no access granted. That's real quick. Let's get this. And he had power to give life to the image of the beast, that the beast should both speak and cause that as many would not worship the image of the beast, his system, should be killed. And this word killed goes into, I just put it up right here for you. The word killed, you go into the second definition to get the actual meaning. And let's go down here. And that goes into separation. You're going to be separated, in the form of, they're going to classify you as a dissident. They're going to charge a lot of us with sedition, what they charged our forefathers with, and what ultimately was the penalty. You had a lot of our forefathers in the form of the apostles, the disciples, literally all of them lost their lives, except for John the Revelator. And they tried to kill him. They dipped him in hot oil and he survived. And they threw him on the island of Patmos, but they all strive for the truth unto death, but they're going to separate us. I actually had that on deck. Let's just get it real quick. Because I was going to read 2 Ezra 16. I was just going to read like a lot out there, but let's just get the quick precept. This is 2 Ezra 16 and 40 real quick. 2 Ezra 16 and 40, O my people, hear my word. The elect are the only ones that are hearing the word and understanding. Make you ready to the battle, and in those evils be even as pilgrims upon the earth. And that's eventually going to happen. We're going to have to let go and let Yahweh Bashim Yahshai, work, Actually, we'll get that as well. Because I think it's Psalms 120. I'll just get it up. Let me see if I can get it this way. If not, I'll just Google it. Yep, this is Psalms 119 and 126. It is time for thee, Lord Yahushai, to work, for they have made void thy law. Therefore, I love thy commandments above gold, yea, above fine gold. This is Psalms 129 and 128. Therefore, I esteem all thy precepts concerning all things to be right, and I hate every false way. And that's exactly our sentiments. And Esau Edom is looking to push, pseudo salvation, a false, a false hope, and all those that take it, you're going to die a grievous death, man, and anybody telling you to take it, they're going to die a grievous death, anybody telling you to take it that doesn't repent from that, Let's go back here. So this is let's read this again. This is a really good article, man. I actually liked this article when I read it. This is some have speculated that the introduction of digital IDs, passports, and the U.S. laying the infrastructure is the U.S. laying the infrastructure for a social credit system, and they already have that one. They already have that going on in China, similar to the one in China. China's social credit system, and I actually played a video. I played a video. I uploaded a video yesterday before camp that showed the QR codes on the drones, and people basically having to check in with the Chinese government through that QR code. And if you don't, tap into that QR code, then your status turns red and you can't move around the city, And they have drones with fully autos, in China as well, mechanical robotic dogs and so on and so forth, and that's all for the wicked of our people, China's social credit system, a massive undertaking of government surveillance, aims to combine 600 million surveillance cameras, one for about every 2 citizens, with facial recognition technology. Has a end goal of being able to identify anyone, anywhere within 3 seconds. And they already have that technology been in the works in the United States. Who knows? They may already have it. The programmable central bank digital currencies, and they have the Biden bucks rolling out in December, literally in a month from now, man, 40 days from now, because it's the 3rd right now. It's 12:30 where I'm at, They got the Biden bucks rolling out, the central bank digital currencies, the programmable central bank digital currencies that they can shut off, shut on, They don't like what you post on social media, money gone, And what happened to Kanye West is a preview, of what's eventually going to happen, to a lot of Jakes, His money literally got snatched from him overnight. Wait till they switch over the new currency system. That same thing is going to happen in the form of, if you don't trade in your currency, you don't take the MOT to the B, you don't trade it in for the central bank digital currency, your money's gone, man. Add another layer of control as a fiat currency in digital form that is programmable. It will be easy for people to make it so you can only spend your money on current things and in specific places as desired by the issuer. So they're going to have control over the money, how you, what you can buy, if you can buy, so on and so forth. It's the next one. There are seemingly innocuous smart meters. They also have what's called smart cities and smart borders as well. Everything's smart, And the first part of hooking you up to that was that potion. And the last part of it is giving you that charagma, which hooks you up to the digital financial smart system, which raises serious privacy concerns, not to mental health concerns. I'll just get right to the point. The end goal. In the end, the global superpowers go so far as to create a worldwide digital ID that can be simply left behind when you feel like it. They'll want something much more permanent, something that can be left at home, something that can't be left at home. And they have what's called the global digital ID, and that's something that Bill Gates is behind, global ID. Yep. V development and surveillance. This is on the Gates Foundation website, man. Gates Foundation announces global fund commitment, V development and surveillance. Where are we at? So the end goal, Sweden is one of the earliest adopters of what? Implantable micro, what? All roads lead to the MOTB, man. Let me get one of these. Actually, we'll go over here real quick. This is Sirach 27:1, and it reads, "Many have sinned for a small matter, and he that seeketh for abundance will turn his eyes away." Well, from the truth, and bow down and bitch up. This is Sirach 27:2. As a nail sticketh fast between the joinings of the stones, so doth sin stick close between buying and selling. And once again, it's not Japhet that's on the TV telling you to take it, man. Japhet is not a part of end time prophecy for all those that are teaching the so-called white man isn't the devil. The scriptures and the precepts prove he's the devil. We'll get into that in a second. I just want to get these points. Sweden is one of the earliest adopters of implantable devices. The chip is implanted just beneath the skin on the hand and operates using either near-field communication, the same technology used in smartphones, or radio frequency identification, which is used in contactless credit cards. Already, Sweden has become more or less a cashless society. And that's what, real quick, because the brother Yashalan put out a video of a country, I want to say it's Nigeria, doing the same thing, real quick. Let me get it real quick. Show it to y'all. I'll throw it in the comments. Right here. Yep, Nigeria. MOTB CBDC, Central Bank of Nigeria, says our goal is to achieve 100% cashless economy. I'll throw this in the description. I'll throw this in the actual comments right here. Anybody that's new, that's a must-have on your subscription list, because that brother is constantly dropping heat, constantly dropping edifying videos. Let me put this down here real quick. Is that the link? I believe it was. Let me check on my phone real quick, make sure it's the right one. Okay, Con. Let me see. It's the right one. Let's see. Okay, Con. It's the right one. Let's keep it going, though. So, all roads lead to the charagma. So, social engineering, once again, the use of centralized planning in an attempt to manage social change and regulate the future development and behavior of a society. And who would be running the end time last kingdom? The Edomites, man. Once again, let's read this last paragraph right here. In Sweden, already Sweden has become more or less a cashless society. Now this tiny implant will replace the need for debit and credit cards altogether, as well as identification and keys. To pay for an item, all you need to have to do is place your left hand near the contactless card reader and payment is registered. And you already have people doing that. Those machines that you have at the stores to tap, those are already built in with the technology already for the NFC or RFID CHI to the P, which is something that's physical, and you will have the biblical Edomites pushing that. Let's just get it real quick. This is let's just skip over here. Let's go over. Let's get this, because this, we could just bring it right here real quick. What I have right here. Yep, I'll just get it from right here. Yep, just lock it. Let's get it from right here. Hold on one second. Yeah, boom. So let's just run through these real quick. This is Job 9:24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? And real quick, when you type this in, who comes up? Who covered the faces of the judges? The Edomites, man. Let's go to the Apocrypha real quick. So, First Maccabees. and 48. This is First Maccabees 3:48, and he reads, "And laid open the book of the law, wherein." Let's get the other version, because this is come on, man. First Maccabees 3:48, and it reads, "And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images." So clue number one, the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. What heathen? The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Who is the wicked? Malachi, which I had right here. The burden of the word of Yahweh Shemel Shai to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother? Was saith the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai. Yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness. Whereas Edom saith, Esau, Edom, same nation of people. Genesis 25 and 30. We are impoverished, but we will return to build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shemel Shai of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down their kingdom. Rome 2.0. They shall call them, the descendants of Esau, Edom, his children, the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord had indignation forever. Now let's go into this word wicked real quick in the scripture for Job 9 and 24. Actually had it right here. Job 9 and 24. The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? And that word for wicked is Rashai. Let's pull it up right here. Wicked. Criminal. Well, criminal, the root word of it goes back to crimson, better yet, which is red. Another clue, Let's just get it real quick. So Genesis 25, because we got new eyes and new ears, so we'll go over it. Genesis 25, the humble beginnings. Let's start from, And the Lord said unto her, 2 nations are in thy womb, Israel and Edom. Talking to Rebekah, and 2 manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one shall be stronger than the other. The Israelites shall be stronger than the Edomites, and the elder shall serve the younger. And that was pre-established before they came out of the womb. And the elder, Esau, shall serve the younger, Jacob. And when her days were to be delivered, were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in the womb, Jacob and Esau, 2 nations of people, the Edomites and the Israelites. Jacob's name was later changed to Israel after he wrestled the angel. And the first came out red all over like a hairy garment, and they called his name Esau. He came out red, going to crimson, also Adawam, Edom. That name in the Hebrew is Adawam as far as Edom, and that name means red, Genesis 25 and 30. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, Slaki. And Esau said to Jacob, feed me, I pray thee, with that same red pottage, for I am faint. Therefore was his name called Edom. So Esau, Edom, they're synonymous, and this is the first mention tying them together. And this is also said in Job the 30, Slakia, Genesis 36 chapter, Genesis the 36th chapter, Esau dwelt in Mount Seir. I'll just get it real quick. I don't want to push the point. Genesis 36. It's only one precept. It's all good. Genesis 36. Genesis 36 and 8. Thus dwelt Esau in Mount Seir. Esau is Edom, same nation of people. But let's go a little more deeper. Guilty one guilty of crime, wicked, hostile to the Most High. Wicked, hostile to the Most High. 2 Thessalonians real quick. And it reads, 2 Thessalonians 2 and 8, and then shall thou wicked be revealed, who's hostile against the Most High, who covered the faces of the judges thereof. We just showed you a picture of, who did it. This is who did it, the nation of people that did it. The images that they have as far as the depictions look just like them. But there's more. This is 2 Thessalonians 2 and 8. And then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, the prophets, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, the chariots, the ICBM missiles. Now let's go into this word Rashai a little more. Hostile to the Most High, wicked, guilty of sin against the Most High or man. Let's go into Revelation 13 real quick. This is Revelation 13. And I'll just start from 4. Yep. And deceiveth them that dwell upon the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell upon the earth that they should make an image of the beast, which had the wound by a sword and didn't live. Talking about the Roman Empire, which is being revitalized through NATO and the EU and Babylon the Great, which rides upon the beast. Rome 2.0. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause it as many as would not worship the image of the beast. Oh, Slacky, I thought I was reading 4. Tripping. Blind, man. This is Revelation 13 and 4. Real quick. Revelation 13 and 3. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death, and his deadly wound was healed. Rome coming back. And all the world wandered after the beast, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast, who is able to make war with him? This is the point right here. And there was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. We just read right here in Job 9 and 24, wicked, hostile to the Most High, wicked, guilty of sin against the Most High or man, condemned, guilty, ungodly. That's one of the other titles for Esau. He's the ungodly, Let's read Revelation 13 and 5 again. And they worship, it's like Revelation 13 and 5. And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him that to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the Most High, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwelt in heaven. And that's exactly what he did with that image. Going back to Job 9 and 24, the earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? To be wicked, act wickedly, to be wicked, And that's what this man is. That's what this man is built to do, Proverbs 16 and 4, and it reads, the Lord had made all things for himself, yea, even the wicked for the day of evil. That's what he's made to do, to be wicked, to be an example of unrighteousness, how not to rule, ultimately made to be destroyed. Real quick, let's go back here. Yep, let's get some more. Let me see if we can get some more out. Wicked, unrighteous. Let's see if we can get some more out of here. Yep. Now let's go real quick. Let's go here. So this is Psalms 137. We'll get these in a second. We'll go down here and get these. This is Psalms 137 and 7. Remember, O Yahweh Shem Yashai, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, race it, even to the foundation thereof. They were on the other side of the Babylonians, when they burnt the temple. O daughter of Babylon, who are to be destroyed. O daughter of Babylon, who are to be destroyed. Happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. That's another clue. The Edomites, they would be running the daughter of Babylon. They would be in rulership, So anybody that's out there teaching Esau, Edom isn't the wicked, the so-called white man isn't the wicked. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know prophecy. This is 2 Ezra 6 and 9. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Esau is the end time ruler of the last, rulership of heathen, Let's go to Luke 21. 24, Luke 21 and 24, real quick. Luke 21 and 24. Yep. And they shall fall by the edge of the sword, and they shall be led away captive into all nations, diaspora, and Jerusalem shall be trodden down of the Gentiles, heathen, until the time of the Gentiles be fulfilled. Gentile rulership, heathen rulership. Second Ezra 6 and 9, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. And that's another clue. Esau will be ruling Babylon the Great, the final kingdom before the Lord returns, which is also known as Mystery Babylon, the virgin daughter of Babylon. You know? And also, those Greeks, they were also known as the children of Esau, you know, who later became the Romans. Let's just prove that real quick. And they were also called the wicked. One of the titles for Esau Edom. Let's get both of them. This is First Maccabees. Let's get the 3rd chapter. And that's who's on TV, you know, telling you to take the juice, pushing the MOT to the B, you know, is these guys, man. You know? And what does the Lord look like? He looks like these people right here, you know, in the form of their depiction of him. This is the criminal right here. This is the guilty one, man. You know? This is for the new people, you know, because you have a lot of new ears and eyes in the truth. So, you know, you just want to show them real quick, you know. This is First Maccabees 3, and I'll start from the top. Then his son Judas, Mattathias' his son, called Maccabeus, rose up in his stead, and all his brethren helped him. So did all they that held with his father Mattathias, and they fought with cheerfulness the battle of Israel. So he gat his people great honor, and put on a breastplate as a giant, and a girt his warlike harness about him, and he made his battles, protecting the host with his sword. In his acts he was like a lion, and like a lion's whelp roaring for his prey. For he pursued the wicked, and sought them out, and burnt them up, those that vex his people. Therefore the wicked shrunk for fear of him, and all the workers of iniquity were troubled. Another clue, you know, this man is the worker of iniquity, man, you know, because salvation prospered in his hand. But who are these people also known as? Who are they also called? And these are the Greeks, who later became the Romans. This is First Maccabees 5 and 3. Then Judas, I'll start from the top. Now when the nations round about, now when the nations round about heard that the altar was built, and the sanctuary renewed as before, it displeased them very much. Now, another clue. What happened in the Babylonian captivity? You know, what happened to Jerusalem? You know, you had the Babylonians, better yet, and the Edomites burned down the temple. Another clue. This man was always trying to attack the sanctuary and the temple and burn down the temple. 70 AD. You know, what we're reading right here, you know, the Greek captivity. Another clue. Remember, O Yahweh Shemashai, the children of Edom in the day of Jerusalem, who said, race it, erase it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us. Now let's go into this real quick. First Maccabees 5 and 1. Now when the nations round about heard that the altar was built, because what they do, they defiled the altar, you know, and they put pork on the altar, you know, made idol altars to worship Zeus and whatnot. And the sanctuary renewed as before, it displeased them very much. Wherefore they thought to destroy the generation of Jacob that was among them, whereupon they began to slay and destroy the people. Then Judas fought against the children of Esau. That's who the Greeks were, who later became the Romans. In Idumea. Now this is pretty interesting, right? I'll keep on reading this precept. Now, Judas fought against the children of Esau in Idumea at Arabatime, because they sieged Gael, and he gave them a great overthrow and abated their courage and took their spoils. Who's pushing this technology right here? What's it called? Idumea. Idumea. Let's get this real quick. This is Job 15 and 6. Job 15 and 6. Thy own mouth condemneth thee, and what you're doing in the earth, and not I, yet thy own lips testify against thee. Let's just play this real quick. You put a U right there. It says Idumea. We just read it, you know. I had it up here, but I think it's right here. It might be right here. I'll just pull it up real quick. Let's read the precept one more time. It's all good. I got it all night. This is First Maccabees 5:3. And while I'm going through this, as far as this particular, breakdown, as far as, Esau, Edom, just going precept upon precept, because you have a lot of new ears and new eyes, and you have some people who may have actually heard that Esau, Edom isn't the white man, and the so-called white man is Japheth. So new eyes, new ears, we'll just go over it, First Maccabees 5:3. Then Judas fought against the children of Esau at Idumea. Then Judas fought against the children of Esau in Idumea at Arabatime, because they sieged Gael, and they gave them a great overthrow and abated their courage and took their spoils. And that's who the Greeks were, the children of Esau. And Idumea is the Greek way of saying Edom. Let's look at this. Let's look at this technology. Who's behind this technology? Let's read it. Idumea. Where is it out of? 15,000 employees. France. Well, that's one of the seven heads. You got Greece, Rome, Germania Major, Germania Minor, the French, the Spanish, and the British. Gradualism. And you have, one of the seven heads, of the beast pushing that, the French. And you have also, the other Edomites, pushing that as well, the Swiss, so on and so forth, Let's go into this real quick. Yep. And once again, Amalek, who's the head tribe of Esau, Edom, they own all the media. And what are they launching? A smear campaign against the truth and against truthers who are outside the truth, because you have heathen who are actually bringing forth good information. And some of them may be Jake, who just look like the heathen. But we'll go through this as well. I'll just run through this information quick style. I'll read like the first two paragraphs. DHS leaks. Starting in 2020, DHS began meeting with Twitter, Facebook, Wikipedia, and more monthly to coordinate content moderation efforts. Let's read this first two paragraphs right here. The Department of Homeland Security has been working to influence big tech platforms. This became originally evident when the Biden administration launched the ill-fated disinformation board, guidance board in 2022, and you had the World Economic Forum do the same thing. They had, I'll just get it real quick, World Economic Forum. I may have it bookmarked. Yep. No. Disinformation. They had something. They had something similar. If I can't find it, I can't find it. It's all good. It's in one of my old lessons, but they have a similar form of the. Oh yeah, I want to say. Might be something along those lines. It's all good. I can't find it, man. It's all good. But they had a similar board, like as far as a disinformation board. If any brother knows on the comment board, you can drop it. You can put it on the comment board, and I'll click on the link, or I'll just go from the comment board and bring it up. But they had a similar disinformation board. I can't remember the exact name, that got launched in June of last year. Let's see if I can find it by looking up June. World Economic Forum. All right. Misinformation. Yeah. This is the coalition that they had that got launched in June of last year. So World Economic Forum launches coalition to tackle harmful online content. This came out last year. So let's read this real quick. This is going to tie into the next segment. This may be long-winded, but Lord's what's edifying. DHS leaks starting in 2020 began meeting with Twitter, Facebook, Wikipedia, and more monthly to coordinate content moderation efforts. And right after that, you had all these misinformation, disinformation coalitions get started, or better yet, band together, including they have like something called like the World Disinformation Board or something like that. This is the next paragraph, the first paragraph. The Department of Homeland Security has been working to influence big tech platforms. This became originally evident when the Biden administration launched the ill-fated Disinformation Guidance Board in early 2022, but has been focused on their efforts even beyond the now defunct unit and before. This is the point right here. Prior to 2020, it was reported that the Department of Homeland Security met with Twitter, Facebook, Wikipedia, and other platforms in order to coordinate content moderation operations. These meetings were part of an ongoing initiative which saw collusion and collaboration between DHS and big tech to determine misinformation that will be dealt with on those platforms. Let's get a quick precept. This is Psalms 37. Let's go to this is Psalms 37:14. The wicked have drawn out their sword and have bent their bow to cast down the poor and needy, the Israelites, and to slay such as be of upright conversation. The sword shall enter into their own heart, and their bows shall be broken. And part of the sword, there's more than one way to draw the sword. He can he did it through through the potion. He's going to use lies and deception, another form of the sword, and ultimately he's going to come in with physicality. But the Lord's going to meet him, head on when he gives his man spiritual power. Let's get this as well. This is Psalms 37:20. I'll get 18 down to 20. The Lord knoweth the days of the upright, and their inheritance shall be forever. They shall not be ashamed in the evil time, and in the days of famine they shall be satisfied. You shall not be ashamed nor confounded, But the wicked shall perish, and the enemies of the Lord shall be as the fat of lambs. The Lord hath prepared a great sacrifice in Basra. They shall consume, and to smoke they shall consume away. That's the point right here. Psalm 37:32. The wicked watcheth the righteous and seeketh to slay him. Let's get Amos real quick while we're on these. Let that pull up. I'll get the next article. And I want to play this video right here, and then we'll lead on to the next segment. We'll get these over here, going into the digital stuff. So that's where this all leads, is the digital all. I'll get the next article real quick. It pretty much says the same thing. DHS engaged in treasonous collusion with Twitter and Facebook to censor Americans. Bombshell report reveals. And this has been going on, you know. Yep. Says the same thing, you know. Yep. Let's get the next article. Revealing shocking report uncovers massive collusion. Basically the same thing, you know. Yep. Now, this all started as far as, I'll get the first paragraph right quick. I'll read the header again. Reveals shocking new report uncovers massive collusion between big tech and federal government to stifle, slack in my reading, conservatives under guise of fighting misinformation. And that whole term started to be more, I just say it the way we used to say it. That term started to be more used and more hyphy, you know, right around the time the pandemic rolled out, man. You started to see them use that term over and over: misinformation, disinformation, misinformation, disinformation, medical misinformation. You know, brothers weren't getting strikes for that before the pandemic, you know. But real quick, I'll get these first two paragraphs and I'll get this video because it explains everything. Let's see if I covered all these points up here. And just real quick, before I move on to the next segment, Psalms 137:7. Remember, O Yahweh Bashim Yahshua, the children of Edom and the day of Jerusalem, we said, race it, even to the foundation thereof. O daughter of Babylon, who are to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewarded thee as thou hast served us, O daughter of Babylon. This is Isaiah 47:1. Come down and sit in the dust, O virgin daughter of Babylon. Sit on the ground, there is no throne, O daughter of the Chaldeans. The Chaldeans were the Magi's and sorcerers of ancient Babylon. You have those Magi's and sorcerers in Babylon 2.0, you know, the new Babylon, doing the same thing all over again, you know, doing the same thing that were being done back in ancient Babylon, except it's the Edomites, you know. For thou shalt no more be called tender and delicate. Take the millstones and grind milk, uncover thy locks, make bare the leg, uncover the thigh, pass over the rivers. Thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. I will not meet thee as a man, right? O daughter of Babylon, O virgin daughter of Babylon. So it establishes that the Lord is going to come and meet them. The nakedness shall be uncovered, yea, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. Let's go to Isaiah 63 real quick. Isaiah 63. So we established that Esau, Edom will be reigning and ruling the virgin daughter of Babylon, and that will be ran by the Edomites, and the Lord is going to come visit them. Isaiah 63:1. Who is it that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra, that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength? I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save. It's talking about our Lord Yahushua. He's the only angel or the only entity that has been given power to forgive sins. And he's going to come and visit Edom, you know, those that pierced him. Revelation 1:7. He come up with clouds, you know, since it's coming up, let's get it. Yeah, Revelation 1:7. And who pierced him? The Romans, who were Edomites. Revelation 1:7. Behold, he cometh with clouds, and every eye shall see him. And they also which pierced him, Roman centurions, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him, even so, Amen. Why? Because the day of the Lord is not what you think it is. Real quick, since I got Amos 5 loaded up. This is Amos 5 and 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord. For what is it? What is the end? To what end is it for you? For the day of the Lord is darkness and not light. As if a man did flee from a lion, and a bear met him and went into the house and laid his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him. You know, shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, and every dark and no brightness in it? Because it's not going to be like how they portrayed it in the Christian church. You know, the Lord's coming back to do a lot of killing, you know. Isaiah 63:1. Who is it that coming from Edom with dyed garments from Basra? Basra is the capital of Edom. And modern day Basra would be Babylon the Great, you know, the virgin daughter of Babylon, America. You know, who is it that cometh from Edom with dyed garments from Basra, that is glorious in his apparel, traveling in the greatness of his strength? I that speak in righteousness, mighty to save, mighty to save. That's a big clue right there. It's talking about our Lord Yahushua, you know, the Redeemer of the nation of Israel. Wherefore art thou red in thine apparel, and thy garments like him that treadeth in the wine fat? I have trodden in the winepress alone, and the people there was none with me, for I will tread them in my anger, and trample them in my fury, and their blood shall be sprinkled upon my garments, and I will stain my raiment, symbolic of all the death that's going to happen when the Lord returns. For the day of vengeance is in mine heart, and the year of my redeemed is come. You know, he's going to ultimately redeem his elect, you know. Now let's go into this real quick, because that's ultimately what's happening is this smear campaign, and ultimately it's going to lead to Amos, the 8th chapter, which the brother posted. I'll get it real quick. Hey, shalom, shalom. Brother's been lighting it up a little bit. Let me get some of these precepts. Yep, I'll get this one real quick. Jeremiah 50:14. Put yourselves in array against Babylon, round about, all ye that bend the bow. Shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she had sinned against the Lord. And that's what's going to happen, you know. Real quick, since the brother brought it up, I'll get Micah 2. You know, the arrows not breaking rank. Let's get that. Let's bring that out. I think it might be Micah 2. Might be 3. Let's see. Joel. Bro. Tripping. This is Joel 2, slacking. This is you can match. We just read my Amos 5. I'll just start from the top. Blow ye the trumpet in Zion, and sound the alarm in my holy mountain. Let all the inhabitants of the earth, let all the inhabitants of the land tremble, for the day of the Lord cometh, for it is nigh at hand. A day of darkness and of gloominess. We just read that in Amos the 5th chapter. A day of clouds and of thick darkness, as the morning spread upon the mountains. A great people and strong there had not been like, neither shall be any more after it, even to the years of many generations. It's like a fire devoureth before them, and behind them a flame burneth, the ICBM missiles. The land is as the Garden of Eden before them, and behind them a desolate wilderness, and nothing shall escape. Yep, this is the point right here. The appearance of them is like the appearance of horses, and as horsemen, so shall they run, the missiles. Like the noise of chariots on the tops of mountains shall they leap, like the noise of a flame of fire that devoureth the stubble, and as a strong people set in battle array. Before their face the people shall be much pain, and faces shall gather blackness. They shall run like mighty men, and shall climb the wall like men of war against those walled cities, you know. And they shall march everyone on his ways, and they shall not break their ranks. Neither shall one thrust another. They're going to hit exactly every single target that the Lord has set for them to hit. And they shall walk every one in his path, and they shall walk everyone in his path. Slack, I'm a little blind. And when they fall upon the sword, they shall not be wounded. You know, they shall run to and fro in the city. They shall run upon the wall. They shall climb upon the houses. They shall enter into the windows like a thief. The earth shall quake before them. The heavens shall tremble. The sun and the moon shall be dark, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. You know? Yep. I'll get this one as well. This is Joel 2:11. And the Lord shall utter his voice before his army, for his camp is very great, for he is strong that executeth his word. For the day of the Lord is great and very terrible, and who can abide it? Only the elect. We're going to get beamed up. Let's go back to the comment board. This is next precept from the brother. This is that's the second part of the precept. This is Jeremiah 50:15. Shout. I get 14. I get both of them. Slacky. This is Jeremiah 50:14. Put yourselves in array against Babylon round about, all ye that bend the bow, shoot at her, spare no arrows, for she had sinned against Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. You touched the apple of his eye. Also, you pierced the Heavenly Father's son's side. You killed him, man. You got to pay for it. You know. This is Jeremiah 50:15. Also, you committed blasphemy against the Holy Spirit. You know, you blasphemed the angels, the Most High, them that dwelled in heaven. This is Jeremiah 50:15. Shout against round her about, for she had given her hand, her foundations are fallen, her walls thrown down. For this is the vengeance of the Lord, and the vengeance upon her, as she had done, do unto her. Beautiful, you know, and it's a righteous thing with Yahweh Bashim Yahshai to recompense tribulation of those that trouble you. Now back to this. This is the next paragraph. For years, conservatives have seen their content posted on the on the major social platforms, severely throttled and censored, even though the same platforms claimed that they were not singling out any users based on political ideology. And what do you have going on? You have that happening because these people right here at this event put it all together. I'll just let it play, man. From right here on to 1728. It's like it. So I'll read the paragraphs of the articles real quick, so this will make more sense. So you have, real quick. So let me get the first article from News Punch. I'll get News Target, News, Natural News. It's lucky. From here. It's lucky. Let me see which article I had from here, because I took it off the screen. Let's see, was that a natural news? I was getting. Yeah. Okay. Certification protocol. That's the 31st. Was that page 2? Let's get on the 4. Yep. So page 6. Yeah. So this is the article. So YouTube announces certification protocol for videos containing medical information. Everything must align with WHO dictates. And he had this from News Punch. Wow. Alberta's new Prime News premier labeled a conspiracy theorist for refusing to associate with the World Economic Forum. Fresh off the press. This just came out maybe like a couple hours ago. Yep. November 2nd. Yep. This is the one that caught my attention. The brother sent it in the group chat. New Zealand announces plans to imprison citizens who cause offense online. And this is already in the works. And this is in the conspiracy theory, you know. This is straight from the New Zealand Herald, you know. They're already in the process of basically putting this into law. I'll be making announcements on hate speech by the end of this year. She briefly addressed issuing her first appearance on the current affairs program since taking over the justice portfolio in June. I guarantee that I will be introducing a decree that I intend to have concluded and put into law by next election. Not conspiracy theory. She's in the process of doing this. And ultimately, you're going to have other nations doing the same thing. All biblical prophecy. Let's get this real quick. And this is segment 4 from event 201. And this happened October 14th, 2019, before they started striking videos and everything. And they were already doing this in the form of having these meetings on doing this back in 2020 with DHS, Facebook, Twitter, Google as well, who owns YouTube. Let's play this real quick. Let's see what I got over here. Yeah, I got right here. Oh, yeah. Okay, con. See if brother's got any other precepts. We'll just keep it going.
But I also think we're at a moment where the social media platforms have to step forward and recognize the moment to assert that they're a technology platform and not a broadcaster is over. They, in fact, have to be a participant in broadcasting.
Can y'all hear it? I just played like a few seconds. Let me know if you can hear it. Give me a call to Wob. I'll check on my phone real quick. I'll check on my phone real quick.
Accurate information and partnering with the scientific and health communities to counterweight, if not flood the zone of accurate information, because to try to put the genie back in the bottle of the misinformation and disinformation, it's nigh impossible.
So flood good information. Okay, others, yeah, Jane.
Yeah, so can I agree with that? And my fact that did come from the Edelman Trust Index, you'll be pleased to know. But also borne out by the work I've done as a CEO in my time. Can I also add that I think there are real technology opportunities here. I personally do not believe that trying to shut things down in terms of information is either practical or desirable. And we do have, I think, a couple of strategies that are available to us, one of which is the flood strategy, second of which is relying and informing and equipping trusted sources of information with the facts so they can then pass that on. But we also need to actually think about a technological answer to this. So there is work that's being done to actually create algorithms to sift through information on these kind of social media platforms. And I know that the Gates Foundation and others are funding organizations to work on things like this in order that people can actually have more confidence in the sources that they will use in any event. So I think both a detailed solution working with individuals, but then also thinking about technology is something we have to advance.
Hasti.
So looping back into the trust barometer, last year in Davos, it was released that trust in traditional media sources has grown while trust in social media sources has gone down, specifically after the last elections in the United States. So I think one of the ways that we need to approach this is to make sure that we have the right representatives on traditional media networks in order to portray our side of the story and make sure that there isn't misinformation. I agree with Jane that shutting down internet is only going to cause extra panic and extra anxiety. In fact, that staff tells me places where internet access has been shut down, there's unrest growing. So we're not only dealing with this specific situation, but really people not trusting their governments at this point. And so I think we really need to make sure, one, from a news perspective, that information is being disseminated correctly and that we have the right source resources out there to provide this information. I also think that there is a good point in trusting in employees, in your employers. There are lots of communications channels. For example, during the Ebola crisis at Texas Children's Hospital, we had daily briefings with the CDC to tell us what the situation was. And because of the daily briefings, we used between the intranet, internal global.
So you notice you said the CDC, but they're also going to mention the WHO. They're going to mention community leaders. They're going to mention churches. Misinformation, disinformation. I mean, this is all playing upon tables, for those that have eyes to see and ears to hear. And this is 5 months before they start locking down cities and doing all that bullshit, man. I'm just let it keep on playing until the 17-minute and 28-second mark. I'll get a few precepts. And I'll let it play from the 13-minute mark to the 21-minute mark.
global communications and town halls. We use those sources to be able to disseminate information and make sure that our employees knew exactly what was going on, coming straight from the source, whether it was from our CEO, our chief nursing officer, others within the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah,
Tim and Chris, sorry.
No, I think a complementary tactic too is to tap faith-based organizations and civil society and other institutions to recruit them also.
Now, you had a lot of these churches being used as inoculation centers. And the reason I'm playing this is because they're going to use the same type of tactics, maybe different strategies or more heightened strategies when it comes to the MOT to the B, you know. But this all happened 5 months before they started locking down cities, and you couldn't go to your job, you know, red light, green light. You know, you need the juice to get inside your job. Oh, well, maybe you don't need it. You need it. We'll send you a letter to think about it. You know, people losing their businesses and so on and so forth.
To basically, almost at a grassroots level, continue to basically have the integrity of the information.
So I just pick up on the daily briefings or twice daily briefings. During H1N1, WHO filled the parking lot in Geneva with the global press and provided them daily updates on what was happening. And I think that's a manifestation of flood, meaning you have to lead and lead regularly. And
right here, I'll put it on full screen so y'all can see it. It says global pandemic exercise. You can't see it because the line slipped right there. But global pandemic, I can't say it the way I want to say it. Global pandemic, for those that, you know, can pick up when I'm putting down, pick up what's being put down. The global pandemic exercise. This is basically a ritual, man. You know? And then putting it out in front of your face, what they plan on doing and rolling out. And you had the World Health Organization there, the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, you know, who all put this thing together.
I think in the terms of the content is what we know and point to where communications have actually been pretty good. I think we projected the exponential increase in this quite well, and therefore there's legitimacy to.
And then right after this, you started to see Bill Gates, you know, on TV with that little smirk saying, you know, we need Native Americans, you know, and so-called Native Americans and, you know, so-called blacks and, you know, Latinos to get this because they're the most at risk. You know, that shows you that perpetual hatred that they have for our people.
And so be clear about what's being communicated that we know and that is right, but also be very clear about communicating what is absolutely wrong and being clear about that. And then also being clear about uncertainty and that that's being managed. So I think in those three domains, it's very important not to deny, but to speak to them very clearly in the context of a daily briefing from, in this case, I can't imagine any other institution than WHO being the focal point.
Martin and Chris, and then I'll come down this line.
Thank you. I fully.
You said, hear him say WHO being the focal point. Then right after that, you had that guy Tedros say, you know, cash is dirty. You can't touch cash. You need to do away with cash. You know, and you had a lot of places not accepting cash. You had, right after that, you had the nightclubs where I'm at and a lot of stores. They started doing the brain scan and the wrist check, you know, the wrist check for the temperature check and the brain check as far as, you know, scanning your brain, you know, basically temperature checking your brain. And that was a temperature check on the left-hand side because that's getting people used and conditioned to having their wrist scan and their head scan for the MOT to the B.
I fully agree that this is pure crisis communication, and crisis communication today, also social media is part of it. And just to limit or even stop social media would create a huge damage. And we should use it. We should get it on our site.
And just to FYI, YouTube is social media. YouTube is considered social media. If you work in social media or online marketing, you know, they consider Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, all social media marketing. They call it SMM, social media marketing, social media marketing, or SEO, social media SEO, social media search engine optimization for people who work in online marketing. That space. That's what they consider it as. They consider Facebook, YouTube, so on and so forth, social media. YouTube is social media.
We should work together with them, and we should try to avoid this misinformation. And another topic is, our industry, there are indications, meanwhile, that we are getting this social conspiracy theory topic, that we are part of this conspiracy theory, that we are supporting this, that wealthy countries will spread out caps to poorer countries. And this is a clearly thing of social media that could be directed via clear crisis communication and confirmed and regular updated information. So I also agree with Matthew. Companies this responsibility that the CEO talks to the staff, that the CEO improves this information flow, and then we have a chance to get it channeled.
So in this case, do you think governments are at the point where they need to require social media companies to operate in a certain way? I hear you saying social media companies should not be impaired, but do they need to operate under different conditions? I think Matt alluded to that as well.
Yes, I would say there are specific conditions now, and we have to find a way to cooperate and to have to find solutions for this, but not to hamper them.
Chris?
So I just want to build on Ed's comment about the importance of civil society and faith-based communities. I think, in addition to employers, people trust their neighbors, trust their local community organizations. With 3 million cases in the Americas, that local communities around the countries have been responding, whether it's to manage daycare so people can stay in school.
You see this right here? You see who he's with? And then these guys right here,
Or go to work. So while the social media can provide better quality information, I think actually local community organizations can help individuals understand how to filter out some of the noise and to act on the good information that's there. I think it's an important lesson that we've learned recently. We're learning as we speak in East Africa with the Ebola outbreak. If you don't have the community trust and engagement, you can't deliver even effective countermeasures, even when you have them. So I think the importance of local community, perhaps married to and as a filter for help.
And just for FYI, the Bill Gates and the Melinda Gates Foundation, they have a whole bunch of children and East Africans that are, in a wheelchair, because of their potions, and you have a lot of people who've suffered SADS, sudden adult death syndrome, which started to roll out, literally right after that potion came out. Athletes dropping in the middle of soccer games, people dropping just out the blue.
To discern the truth from the misinformation on the technology platforms is going to be an important part of this response.
Steve, Brad, and then we'll go down the table here.
Just 2 points. First is that we have to recognize that we are all susceptible to misinformation based on our proper beliefs and experience. And I think with the social media platforms, there's an opportunity to understand who it is that's susceptible in what form to misinformation. So I think there's an opportunity to collect data from that communication mechanism. The second thing is, with that ability, we can identify false information more quickly. We are actually receiving reports about people trying treatments that are purported to be effective but are actually harmful. And the quicker that's recognized and can be countered, the fewer people will fall susceptible to those things.
Okay, thanks, Brad.
Yeah, I don't want to be repetitive. I agree with almost everything that was said. But when we talk about our health, who do we typically trust? Our physicians. And we're not talking about that right now. So, we need the physicians and the medical community really out there on the forefront talking about this. I remember I had access to local news in Atlanta when the patient was taken care of for Ebola that came back, and physicians were on there nightly talking about, don't panic. It's okay. This isn't going to go spread. So I would add physicians to it.
Okay. Yeah.
Some important news to share from our member companies. Rumors are actually spreading that the antivirals are causing CAPS, and so patients are not taking them anymore. And
Antivirals is a code word for the juicy juice, and CAPS is code word for the DVOC 91.
this is particularly an area where we have government mistrust. On the other hand, it's interesting because we are doing clinical trials in new antiretrovirals and, in fact, in vaccines, and social media, including Facebook, is actually enhancing recruitment. People are going to it, and they're actually seeking information on where they can participate and sign up. And so I sort of wonder that maybe we're in the mistake of reporting and counting all the fatalities and infections, and we're not sharing with people what are the wins. Who are the patient advocates that can say what worked for me, and maybe you should try that. I think we have an opportunity here.
Okay. George, and then Avril.
We get a quick precept. Take that down. Take that down. Let's get 1 Timothy. Sixth chapter in the blue letter, and let's go to the 20th verse. This is 1 Timothy 6:20. O Timothy, keep thou which is committed to thy trust, avoid profane and vain babblings and oppositions of science, falsely so-called pseudos. Science is science. I'll just show it to you in the blue letter. Yep. Science, Well, let's go into this word pseudos. And you go to the root word that it goes back to, which is sweatus. Yep. Pseudonymous, slaki. So-called. Pseudonymous, falsely named. Falsely so-called. What falsely named? Sweatus.
Strong's G, 5571. Sudace.
What? Lying, deceitful, false, wicked. Wow. Wicked. That's who's pushing it. The wicked, man. False, liar. Who? The physician of no value. And that's what you see all in this, on this panel right here. You got one. Of course, what do you have also? She's in the scene a little later. You got Eve right along with them, man. Yeah, but let's play this from the 20-minute and 30-second mark. I'll get a few more precepts as well. Let's get Psalms. I think this is the one. This is Psalms 59:2. Deliver me from the workers of iniquity and save me from bloody men. For lo, they lie in wait for my soul. The mighty are gathered against me, not for my transgression nor my sin, O Yahweh Bashim Yashai. This actually, I was looking for. I'll get this one as well. This is Psalms 59. I was actually meant to go to 58. Therefore, thou, O Yahweh Bashim Yashai of hosts, the power of Israel, awake to visit all the heathen. Be not merciful to any wicked transgressors. Salah. Beautiful, man. You know, that's exactly what's going to happen. All these heathen are going to get visited, man. You know, and you have the heathen taking crafty counsel, you know, and you got Eve right there with them, you know. Eve with the weave, looking unbelievable. I'll just let it play a little later, but let's get this. This is Psalms 58:1. Do ye indeed speak righteousness, O congregation? Do ye judge rightly? Do you judge uprightly, O ye sons of men? The heathen nations. Yea, in heart ye work wickedness. Yea, weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. The wicked are estranged from the womb. As soon as they go astray, as soon as they be born, speaking lies. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth the ear. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear, which will not hearken the voice unto charmers, charming never so wisely. Let's get, since we're bringing that point up. If you watch this channel, you probably know where I'm going. Deuteronomy 32, and let's get this. Deuteronomy 32, and let's go right to 33. Let's go to the blue letter. For their wine is the poison of dragons, the cruel venom of asps. Let's go into this word, poison. Chama, and that goes into heat, rage, hot displeasure, anger, wrath, poison. I got to be careful with that word, especially with this lesson. They might take it down, but oh well. Bottles, venom, poison. But what did they put that CV19 in? As far as the potion, the elixir, they put it in bottles, man. You know. Now let's get this word for dragon, which is the Niam. Yep. The Niam. Yep. The Niam. And it goes into dragon, serpent, snake. Let's see if I get anything. See if it'll let me get anything further. Dragon, you know. And that's who was looking to give it to you. You know, the dragon, man. You know, Esau, Edom, you know. Sea monster, serpent. Well, let's get this word for adder. Yep. Yep, their venom, their poison. Let's look at this word venom. Let's get this word venom. Venom. Yep. Yep. Generally, poison of serpents. Let's get Sirach 12 real quick. This is Sirach 12:10. Never trust thy enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Right to the point. Sirach 12:13. Who will pity a charmer that is bitten with a serpent, or any as such as come nigh wild beasts? And that's what Esau Edom is. You know, he's a wild beast, man, you know, looking to hit you up with that venom, man, you know, and ultimately looking to hit you up with that MOT to the B, you know. That's what all this is a precursor for. Let's go to this word for adder. And an adder is it's a snake. That's exactly what Esau Edom is. Let's get Revelation 20. Revelation 20. And I'll get right to the point. I'll start from the top. And I saw an angel come down from heaven, having the key to the bottomless pit and a great chain in his hand. And he laid hold on the dragon. What did we just see in Deuteronomy? Yep. Their wine is the poison of dragons and the cruel venom of asps. And he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. the serpent from the garden, which is a man with a serpentine spirit, who later became Cain, who killed his brother Abel, who later became Esau, who came back with no pigment, as a mark of who the Edomites are. And who's on TV, who's running this meeting. People without any hue, people who lack pigment, the Edomites. And what are they looking to hit you up with? They're looking to hit you up with that chama, Got to use the Hebrew a little bit. Right here, that VENOM, that POISON, that's in right here. I'm highlighting it, Can't say it too many times because a few times I went into this and they took the lesson down like the next morning, man. Lord's will they keep this one up, but it's all good. If they take it down, they take it down. Fuck it. Now let's go. Let's play this. See if brothers got anything on the comment board. It's a little late. This is Daniel 7:25. And it reads, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High Beautiful, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws." And also he's going to wage war against the saints. This is Revelation 13. I was going to get it a little later, but let's get it now since it's hot. Revelation 13, and I'll start with 5. "And there was given unto him a great mouth, speaking great blasphemies. And there was given unto him a mouth, speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the Most High, to blaspheme his name, calling him God and Jesus, and his tabernacle." The men, the Most High's tabernacle is with men, calling us bywords and proverbs, treating us like shit, which is, what he's supposed to do, which is biblical prophecy, but you still got to pay for it, "And them that dwell in heaven," the angels, man, the Heavenly Father, his Son. And that's blasphemy of the Holy Spirit, which is not forgiven. Revelation 13:7, "And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations." Now, this is talking about, Esau, Edom, and Rome, which is the final rulership. And it said, we just read in Isaiah 63, who is it that cometh from Edom with diagommers from Basra? That's the final kingdom. That's who will be in rulership when the Lord comes back. Will be the Edomites, And the only two nations that were given dominion in the form of worldwide dominance and rulership in history and prophecy would be Jacob and Esau. So for people out there teaching that Esau, Edom, the so-called white man, isn't the wicked, it isn't the devil, you're blind, because who's on TV? Who's running this meeting? You got Shesaw right here, Is that some cross earrings? Probably are some cross earrings, man, And the cross is mockery, I believe these are crosses.
Rest the pandemic.
Yeah. Damn devil, And the cross is mockery, mocking, Yahushua, because that's what he was hung on, man, That's what he was crucified on, This is Daniel 7:25, "And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, unrighteous decrees. And they shall be given into his hand until a time and the dividing of time." We've been in Esau, Edom's hands 3 times, as far as him having rulership over our people, the Greeks, the Romans, and Rome 2.0, This is 2 Corinthians 2:11, "Lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for we are not ignorant of his devices, his schemes, his plots, his plans, also the way he moves." We can look at history and look at prophecy and look how the Edomites moved and pretty much get an inclination of how they're going to move in these times, get a good idea. What did they do in the Roman captivity? What did they do in the Greek captivity? they look to attack the temple, the believers. That's the temple, the spiritual temple, and they're going to come in like a flood. And ultimately, they're ultimately going to be confounded. But let's play this real quick, because this is more evidence against this devil. This is pretty much going to speak for itself. The 20-minute and 30-second mark to the 30-minute mark.
Then we need to be able to respond quickly to it.
So I have a number of comments here. People want to react to what I've really just said. I see a couple of fingers just went up. Matt,
I think just to build a little bit on what Avril said is I think as in previous conversations where we've talked about centralization around management of information or public health needs, there needs to be a centralized response around the communications approach that then is cascaded to informed advocates, represented in the NGO communities, the medical professionals, et cetera.
You mean centralized internationally?
Centralized on an international basis, because I think there needs to be a central repository of data, facts, and key messages.
Tim, you wanted to comment on that, and then we'll go back to regular order here.
Yeah, I think one important thing is there needs to be a sense of two-way communication, which is people on the front lines may be finding out that actually the system's not working as it should. And I think there should be a culture in the communications to feed back to authorities, places where the system is broken down, where supplies are short, where there are no health workers, where hospitals are dysfunctional, et cetera. Because that, and then with some credible investigation process, which is that then values the client. The second dimension of it, I think that's really important, is to get individual narratives on this. I mean, the fact is that most people will survive. And that's probably not a widespread public perception. And so people who have lived and survived and can say that they got good care or that they were treated appropriately will help build confidence in the system in a way that perhaps the data doesn't do as effectively.
Hasti, Latoya, Sophia, and then Jane.
I think a couple of things we have to consider are, even before this began, the anti-vaccine movement was very strong. And this is something specifically through social media that has spread. So as we do the research to come up with the right vaccines to help prevent the continuation of this, how do we get the right information out there? How do we communicate the right information to ensure that the public has trust in these vaccines that we're creating? And secondly, news organizations in some countries are right now under a lot of pressure from their governments to provide politically favorable news. And so we have to think about, this isn't just the United States where we sometimes take the freedom of press for granted. There are countries where the news organizations are owned by the government, and how are they disseminating information? And what do we need to be thinking about? How do we communicate with those governments to ensure that misinformation and disinformation is not being spread?
That goes along with her. I've received information from my staff saying they're confused about the different authoritarian public health messages that are coming out from all the different sectors, the countries, the states, and different cities. And they're concerned about the differences, what the World Health Organization is, saying versus what their government is saying and what the total consensus are. So with that being said, looking at hotels from that perspective, we're in a bind in knowing how to proceed.
I see. Sophia?
Thank you. The discussion is focusing on mis and disinformation, but I think what's important to counter some of that is to actually put out information or good news stories of people who have actually beat the disease, or best practices in other parts of the world that is delivering on results and sharing that. But also, I agree on the point on having a centralized source of information and a world body that could have garner the respect of everyone. And I think the WHO in this instance might be that source of information. And again, using the UN networks on the ground in many of these countries has a UN presence through its resident coordinator systems. And I think based on the Edelman Trust Barometer, the UN still enjoys a lot of trust around the world. So it's a good bet. Thank you.
Thanks, Jane.
So I just want to focus, if I could, for a second, on why we communicate, what the purpose of this communication So there seem to be several elements to this conversation, one of which is to get the facts, however you define them, out there. But let's be completely clear. We have known for many years that tobacco kills you if you consume it. It's a fact. It's a crapshoot whether you're going to be in the 50% proportion who's going to die very young, but we know this as a fact. There are some things we know that are widely held. Doesn't mean it always changes people's behavior. So I think we should also focus in a conversation about communication, about what the purpose of that communication is, and think about what we know about incentivizing the kind of behaviors we want to see. I agree with Tim completely. It needs to be two-way. So governments and people who are organizing service delivery.
You hear what she said? Incentivizing the behaviors we want to see. That's basically what they plan on doing with this next phase that they want to roll out, which is the social credit system. That's eventually what this is going to lead to. But this is a precursor, to the MO Teach It to Be, And this was an exercise that was done October 14th, 2019. And you had the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation there, the World Economic Forum. They were basically in on this as well. The World Health Organization, John Hopkins, and all these, bigwig world leaders, hotel commissions and whatnot, financial advisors, people in the health industry, so on and so forth, transportation people, military.
Businesses who are trying to operate in this environment, they can do that optimally. But we should also think in a communication sense, it's not just about handing people a piece of knowledge. It's also about how we incentivize them to manage their behaviors, which in any communicable.
I think that just says bank group. So you have banks there as well, financial institutions, so on and so forth.
Disease outbreak. Behavior of one sort will minimize your chance of getting a disease versus behavior of another sort, which may maximize that chance.
Thanks, Chris. Yeah, I just want to come back to the community. Judging from the statistics, we currently have 4 million survivors. We may in a month have 11 million survivors. Assuming this is like other respiratory pathogens, they're now immune. And they live in the communities, almost by definition, that are affected. So can we turn the survivors into an effective community-based source of accurate information? They're going to be the least likely to be wanting to spread false information. They're going to be motivated by having survived this outbreak and knowing loved ones who are also affected. I think they could become a very effective force for intervention.
Get a quick preset. This is Amos, the 5th chapter. Actually, you know what? Let's go to Psalms real quick. Psalms 94. This one. Psalms 94 and 20. And it reads, "Shall the throne of iniquity have fellowship with thee, which frameth mischief by law?" And that's ultimately what they're doing. They're framing mischief, and eventually they're going to pass these, unrighteous decrees in the law. They did it before, they gathered themselves together against the soul of the righteous and condemned the innocent blood. Because ultimately, this is all being set up to eventually, demonize those that tell you not to take the MO Teach It to Be. They were demonizing people who were saying don't take the medicine. This video may get taken down, but a lot of brothers' videos going into this topic were taken down. Literally, I did a video last year, and I played these same exact clips. Actually, in 2021, about March, April, and that video was taken down within 2 hours. And I've seen other brothers, touch on this topic as far as Event 201. How basically a lot of the things that we're talking about started to happen and were being rolled out, and then a lot of those videos, most of them were just taken down and under the guise of quote unquote medical misinformation. And now they're saying you can allegedly talk about it. That was a few months ago. And now they have the World Health Organization and YouTube basically putting a committee together to, have doctors, on there and everything has to be reviewed to be politically correct according to the World Health Organization standards. Showing that this man, he doesn't let his yays be nays and let his yays be yays and his nays be nays. The Gospels, Matthew 5:37. This is Matthew 5:37. But let your communication be yea, yea, nay, nay, for whatsoever is more than these cometh of evil. And what does this man do? He'll make a decree and he'll backtrack on that joint, man. He has what's called revisions to his bills that he makes. He can't let his speech be sound. He can't stand on his word because this man his soul is not upright in him. They gather themselves together against the soul of the righteous and condemn the innocent blood. Let's get Habakkuk 2 and 4 real quick. This is Habakkuk 2 and 4, and it reads, Behold, his soul which is lifted up is not upright in him, but the just shall live by his faith. This man, he's made to be crooked, That's what it says in Ecclesiastes. Who can make, I'll just get it real quick. Ecclesiastes 1, I think it's 15. This is Ecclesiastes 1 and in 15. That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered. And this man is insufficient to rule. Wanton, Let's get some more of this video, and then we'll get a few last points, and then we'll wrap on up.
Prevention at the community level.
Thanks. I'm going to turn to Levon. I just want to ask one other question to think about as Levon's commenting. We've talked a lot about misinformation and flooding good information. We've just started to talk a bit about disinformation and the strategy around that. And Avril or others, after Levon comments, if you have any additional thoughts about the particular approaches to disinformation that may be distinguished from misinformation, it'd be good to hear about those.
Yeah.
Levon.
So I've received a note to say that some bad actors are actually using social media to spread rumors about specific companies in order to profit from short selling. So
did you hear that?
Along the lines of what we've been talking about, this is going to cause companies to come up now to get some of the screen time as well, because they need to spread the correct information. But one thing we haven't spoken about, and I'm wondering whether it's time to talk about this, is a step up from the part of the governments on enforcement actions against fake news, right? Some of
What the first article say that was brought out? News Punch. New Zealand, it might come up like that. Yep. This is New Zealand. Announces plans to imprison citizens who cause offense online. What offense online? New Zealand had launched, this came out yesterday. It's 2 o'clock in the morning in the West Coast, so it came out right before I did the video. Sometimes I'm a little long-winded, so it's like it. Lord, till you get edified, that's what it's all about. New Zealand has announced plans to arrest and imprison citizens who spread hate speech on social media. And they also said misinformation as well, Let me see. Regulation of speech, more than free speech. Yep. According to Arden, hateful speech, the promotion of non-mainstream views, anything the government deems to be disinformation, and ideas that undermine the government. Let's play back what this guy was just saying right here. This is in October 2019. 5 months before they started locking down cities and telling you can't do this and do that. They were saying in Canada they want you to use glory holes and all sorts of bugged out shit, man. Wear 2 masks. Don't see your family members. Money's dirty. Don't go to work. Go to work. Don't go to work. You can't go to work. You need the coat. I almost said the word. You need the juicy juice to go to work. No, you don't. Well, you need it. I'm sending you a letter. Think about it. You need it next week.
in order to profit from short selling. So,
those emails brothers are getting at 2, 3, 4 in the morning, YouTube guidelines, your channel's been terminated, so on and so forth.
So, along the lines of what we've been talking about, this is going to cause companies to come up now to get some of the screen time as well, because they need to spread the correct information. But one thing we haven't spoken about, and I'm wondering whether it's time to talk about this, is a step up from the part of the governments on enforcement actions against fake news, right? Some of us, these new regulations that come in place about how we deal with fake news. And maybe this is a time for us to showcase some cases where we are able to bring forward some bad actors and leave it before the courts to decide whether they have actually spread some fake news.
So we have about 3 minutes left for this discussion. I just want to throw one more question out for your final thoughts on what if it is, as some people have raised, governments that are spreading misinformation either inadvertently or to some political advantage? How do we work around that with international organizations or business? Are there particular things that people haven't mentioned already that are worth talking about? But does anyone want to talk about either that or disinformation or other topics in the last couple of minutes?
Sorry,
No, please.
So I have a very quick one. So I want to touch a little bit about science. I want to follow Chris' talk. Because that's a very good chart. We have survivors. Because we have so many survivors, the epidemic.
That's pretty much for the video. See if brothers got any precepts, I'll get those. This is Psalms 55:2, and it reads, "The words of his mouth were smoother than butter." Psalms 55:20, Salakia. I believe that's 20, 55:20. The brother may have just typed it in. 55:21. "The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but there was war in his heart." The Hebrew word for heart is la'ab, which is your mind. "His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords." And that's what he did when he wrote out the juicy juice. He was saying this and saying that. Don't worry about it. You're only going to have to take one, and then all of a sudden, 4 Boost mobile phones later, your auntie, she's giving up the ghost. Your granny's no more. I know people who've had their family members drop, because of it, man. So on and so forth. Let's get these next points. So this is leading into our next segment. Hold on. Damn. Didn't mean to go this long, but it's all good though. Probably get these last points and then wrapping up, because all roads lead to the Karagma, But the demonization, the great accusation, ultimately the buildup to that is playing out. That's what I wanted to bring out better. Just it was done a long-winded version, but hey, it's all good though. Blacklisted news. Okay, we already got that one. Okay, already got this. Okay. Closing some of these windows down so my computer can run faster. Yep. And once again, we'll get the definition of social engineering. And that was social engineering at its finest. We just seen a whole video of it, of them basically, doing centralized planning, the use of centralized planning in an attempt to manage social change and regulate the future development and behavior of a society. And that was social engineering at its finest. 20-something minutes of it, almost 30 minutes of it with the first segment of Event 201. And both of those segments of Event 201 are in the description of this video. The video as far as the description box. So you can check it out on your own as far as the timestamp of when to watch and when to stop watching for anybody who's just new tuning in. This is Revelation 13. I'm gonna start with I'll get the 8th verse. Revelation 13, I'll get 8 and I'll skip down. This is Revelation 13 and 8. We read 6 and 7 a little earlier. I'll start with 7 though. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given unto him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. Because once again, Esau, Edom, and Jacob were the only ones that were given actual, world dominion and their rulerships, with Rome, having that dominion over the whole world as far as Rome 2.0, over the whole known world, the beast, with Babylon the Great riding upon the beast being the seven kingdoms ruled by Esau, Germania Major, Germania Minor, Greece, Rome, Britain, France, and Spain. And you have the 10 horns, which is NATO, formerly known as the ECC, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given unto him to rule over all kindreds and tongues and nations. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. And that's going to take the MOT to the B. Those who don't have their names written in the book of life, of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world, talking about our Lord Yahushua. They're not the elect. This is Revelation 12 and 17. This is also playing out. I'll get it right here. So I got Revelation pulled up right here. This is Revelation 12 and 17, and it reads, "And the dragon was wroth with the woman being Israel, dragon being Esau, Edom, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, the elect." The remnant is the survivors, who are gonna. The remnant is the elect, but the remnant is also symbolic of the survivors, But you're gonna actually have some who are actually martyrs for this thing, But there's victory in that, I'll just get that next. Which keep the commandments of Yahweh Bashim Shai and have the testimony of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. Let's go to Revelation 20. Let's prove all things. Revelation 20, real quick, in the 4th verse, and it reads. And I saw thrones, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them. And I saw the souls of them that were beheaded for the witness of Yahweh Shai, and for the word of Yahweh Bashim Shai, which had not worshipped the beast, neither his image, neither had received his mark upon their foreheads or in their hands, and they lived and reigned with Hamashiach 1,000 years. But what did the Apostle John see? Thrones, and they that sat upon them, and judgment was given unto them, because they didn't bow down. Might be 9. It's lucky. It's all good. I could just skip this one. It's all good. It's 8. It's all good. I'll just get right to the point I was getting earlier. This is Revelation 12. In case I didn't read the whole thing. Revelation 12 and 17. And it reads, yep. And the dragon was wroth with the woman being Israel, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, the elect, which keep the commandments of Yahweh Bashim Shai, and have the testimony of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach. And those that have the testimony of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach are the prophets, Let's go into this real quick. Last segment. So this is what's happening also. Whatever. Yep. So you have the financial system being set up, while people are paying attention to Kanye and all the bullshit that's happening with that dude. You have Esau Edom making power moves, and it's actually Yahweh Bashim Shai making power moves for the financial, system. Because the MOT to the B is, just part of, and he calls it, it's the final piece on the chessboard. But, what you can and can't say, once again, the social engineering and the setting up, the use of centralized planning in an attempt to manage social change, the meeting in the meeting of the minds of those who are coming against, the meeting of the minds of the wicked elite, and then ultimately, them issuing the MOT to the B. But them cutting off access to how you buy and sell in the form of you happen to have it, what you can say, who you can communicate with, as far as your social credit score, how you get access to things, how you can travel. That's all a part of the anti-Causeth, and that's all being engineered right before your face. They have what they call smart borders, and I did a lesson on that. Other brothers did lessons on it as well. And that ties into, digital biometric IDs, central bank digital currencies, ultimately the MOT to the B system. And the final part of it is them putting that charagma inside you. Let's just get that Revelation. We'll get that on deck. I actually already have it on deck. Let's get it right here. Let's get this. So GBG certified to UK digital trust scheme for compliant right to work DBS checks. So London-based GBG. What's GBG? I think I had it right here. London-based GBG. GBG achieves UK government trust framework certification. GBG, the global expert in digital identity, today announces it has achieved certification against the UK government's digital identity attributes trust framework, authorized by the Department for Culture, Media, and Sports. Following a rigorous independent assessment of its technology, security, and processes, GBG has been recognized for its industry-leading excellence, and it's now a certified digital identity service provider to provide digital identity verification for right to work, right to rent, and DBS checks via its GBG identity product. This certification is not only a testament to our industry-leading technology and expertise at GBG, it also demonstrates our long-term commitment to compliance, wow, and regulation. Wow, I got to get this next one, man. This is, wow. Let's get Psalms 64 and 8. And once again, what's the UK? UK, that's Great Britain, which is one of the 7 heads, of the beast, which are Edomite kingdom, Edomite kingdoms of Esau, man. The 7 kingdoms under Edomite rulership. Great Britain's one of them, and that's being ran by the Rothschild banking family of England. That's who really runs Great Britain, man. The royal family is just their bitches, man. And they're not really the royalty. The real royalty is Jacob, man. Us, man. That's who was ruling during the Byzantine Empire. King James, the Stewart family, and so on and so forth, man. Psalm 64 and 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. It's a little late out here. This is Psalm 64 and 8. So they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away. And that's exactly what's happening with this GBG article right here. The policy surrounding global identity is still very much in its infancy, but it is beginning to emerge around the globe as adoption of identity verification technology continues to at pace. DIATF, the Digital Identity and Attributes Trust Framework, represents a huge step forward in policy for digital identity in the UK, Great Britain, but also sets an example of regulation around the globe that it will improve compliance, and build confidence in online identity verification. That's pretty much it. According to digital identity expert, it is still in infancy. We just read that, but let's go to the next one. Digital identity and social media, the big picture. Let's get a paragraph or two out of here. Digital identity on the internet is fundamentally broken. Our data scattered across the web is part of our hands. It is possible for most security conscious to track Before we create a viable alternatives to the present system, first we need to address the fundamentals, how identity is understood. I didn't read this article, so let me speed read some of this because it includes your name. Yeah, let's get this. Identity is more than that. Your identity includes your name, your nationality, your education, your job, your family, and other things that distinguish you as an individual. And that's all going to be stored in the RFID CHI to the P. Yep. Let's see if. Nah. Let's get this. This is actually good. So Ingbo Reeb is the founder of Kilt Protocol, a blockchain identity protocol for issuing sovereign decentralized identifiers for verifiable credentials. Kilt provides practical, scalable, secure identity solutions for enterprise and consumers. Decentralized identity services built on Kilt include social KYC, certification for email addresses, and social media accounts. Basically setting up they're basically tying everything into a social credit system that will be tied into your email, social media accounts, what you said last week on social media, so on and so forth, your bank account, your travel status, a private way to sign any type of digital file directly in your browser. Let's get the next article real quick. Let's get some of these. Scotland plans engagement for public identity. Scotland plans public engagement on digital identity development system. Same thing. The Scottish government has introduced a new digital identity public engagement project. The UK and its nations do not have an ID or digital identity, yada, 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 yada. All roads lead to the Karagma. Yep, United Arab Emirates, largest bank and retailer, launching biometric payment card from Idemia and IDEX. And we just went into Idemia. For anybody that's just tuning in, we'll just let this play. We'll go to Revelation 13. We'll wrap on up. Lucky. And this is gradualism. And Idemia is a French company. Gradualism. Policy of gradual reform rather than sudden change or revolution. Slow walking, the boiling frog mentality, the boiling frog concept. Presenting convenience, pseudo miracles, a pandemic based around, demonizing cash, rewarding cashless transactions, so on and so forth. And eventually, putting bounties out on, anybody who, condemns the technology, condemns the MOT to the B, telling you not to take it at the highest level, you're going to have the profits, Idemia. Put a U right there, you know what it says, Idemia, and that's who's developing this technology, Idemia. I think I had it pulled up. Place, 2 Place Samuel de Champlain, Courbevoie, Francais, France, man, Let's see what brother's got in the comment board. Obadiah 1 and 3. Yep. This is the pride of thy heart hath deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock. Mount Seir, whose habitation is on high, who saith in his heart, in his mind, is La'ab, who shall bring me down to the ground? Yahweh Bashem Yahshai. Let's get right to the point. Let's get these last points. Let me take some of these windows down. Yeah, we already hit that. We may go back to social engineering. Yeah, Job, the wicked. Okay, let's get this. This is Revelation 13. I'll start with 14. And deceiveth them that dwell upon the earth by the means of those miracles which he had the power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell upon the earth that they should make an image of the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. The Roman Empire being revitalized, making the system all over again, and what the system have. And I beheld another beast coming down out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, the two political parties, and he spake like a dragon. He spake draconian, going into the Pelagians and the patricians in old Rome, and you have in modern day Rome, the capital of modern day Rome, which is Basra, modern day Egypt, modern day Basra, which is the capital of ancient Edom, which would be America, Babylon the Great, where he basically gets, his cash cow is the capital of the Edomite kingdom, the epicenter where everything is influenced out of Babylon the Great. You have two political parties, the Democrats and the Republicans. And he exercised all the power of the first beast, Rome, and it caused the earth and them that dwell thereon to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. Talking about Rome 1.0, and you have Rome 2.0. Worship the first beast. That's Rome. This is Revelation 13 and 14. And he deceiveth them that dwell upon the earth by the means of those miracles, pseudo miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image of the beast, which had the wound by a deadly sword, Slakia, and did live. And he had power to give life to the image of the beast, the system, this man's system, that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed, separated. But you're actually going to have men who are going to be beheaded because they're telling you not to take this man's mark, his charagma, which is something that's physical. This is Revelation 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma, I'll just say it, a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that word for mark is charagma. This is that word mark, which is charagma. And it goes into a stamp, an imprinted mark, thing carved, sculpture, graven work of idolatrous images. The mark of the mark stamp on the forehead, Neuralink, or the right hand, Wallenmore, is the badge of the followers of Rome 2.0, because there are many antichrists. The antichrist isn't a man, it's a system that's ultimately anti-Hamashiach. Now that word charagma goes into the charagma is the RFIDCHI to the P. That word charagma goes into charax, which is a pale or a stake or a palisade. A NEEDLE. Let's get. I had it on deck right here. Let's go to. I think I had it right here. Isaiah 36 and 6. Real quick. Lo, thou trustest in the staff of this broken reed on Egypt, whereof if a man lean, it will go into his hand and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him. Now let's get this word pierce real quick in the Hebrew. In that word, I'll read the precept one more time. Lo, thou that trustest in the staff of this broken reed, this man's system, on Egypt, wherein a man lean, you depend on this man. What's he going to make you do? Take that RFIDCHI to the P. Pressure from above, pressure from below. It will go into his hand, Walletmore and other versions, and pierce it. So is Pharaoh, king of Egypt, to all that trust in him. That word pierce in the Old Testament, that word in the New Testament is prepare. We're going to go there as well. And pierce it. And that word is naquab. And it goes into to pierce, perforate, bore a point. Yep. Bore. To be pricked. To be pricked. Let's go down here. To excavate. Hollow out. That's what you have to have happen to get the MOT to the B. Let's look up excavate. To make a hole or channel by digging. That's exactly what you have to get that MOT to the B. You have to have an NEEDLE pierce you and then put that charagma inside you through Charax, which stores graphos, intelligence, data, records. You know, just go into some more down here. To pierce, bore. Let's look up bore. To make a hole in something, especially with a revolving tool. Can we get more plain and tables than that? You know what I'm saying? Yep, with holes, name, pierce, strike through. Strike through, right? We're going to go back to Revelation 13 and 16, but let's get another one. This is 1 Timothy 6 and 10. Let's read this one more time. So that word naquab, naqua, and then a ba is to prick, to bore, to pierce. Yep. To pierce, perforate, pierce, or make a hole or holes in. You know? Let's go to 1 Timothy 6 and 10. Let's see what this says. 1 Timothy 6 and 10. For the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and what? Pierced themselves through with many sorrows. That word pierced in the New Testament is papero. Yeah, I got it right here. This is Sirach 27:1 while that's loading. Many have sinned for a small matter, and he that seeketh for abundance will turn his eyes away from the law. Because the scriptures say in Leviticus 19 and 28, you're not supposed to make any cuttings in your flesh. Yep, Leviticus 19 and 28. This goes back to the law. You shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, tattoos, nor print any marks upon you. I am Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai. And making any cuttings in your flesh, surgery, taking the MOT to the B, taking the Juicy Juice from Juicy J and the 3-6 Mafia, you know, Juicy J and the 3-6 Mafia. Pick up what's being put down. Revelation 13, it's on the screen. Revelation 13. We'll go back to Charax real quick, but Juicy J and the 3-6 Mafia. That's Esau Edom, Code Talk. Watchman on the Coast, Code Talk. Revelation 13 and 18. Here is wisdom, and let him that have understanding count the number of the beast. What is the number of the beast? For is the number of a man, and his number is 600, 3 score. A score is 20. 3 scores 6. 660. 660 and 6. That's Juicy J and the 3-6 Mafia. You know, Esau, man, you know. Leviticus 19 and 28, you shall not make any cuttings in your flesh for the dead, nor print any marks upon you, for I am Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahshai. Let's go to, 1 Timothy 6 and 20, for the love of money is the root of all evil, while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. That word pierced is papero. Let him say it.
Strong's G 4044. Peripyro.
Peripado.
Peripyro.
To pierce through. To penetrate entirely. Pierce through. That's exactly what you got to get done to you to get the MOT to the B. You know, and that was also said in Isaiah 36, you know, in a parabolic way, you know, pierce, to bore, perforate, you know, to cut through, you know. Yep. Pierce through, you know, pierce, strike through, pun intended. This is Sirach 27:1. Many have sinned for a small matter, and he that seeketh for abundance will turn his eyes away from the law, statutes, and commandments, you know, from the way. As a nail sticketh fast between the joinings of the stones, so doth sin stick close between buying and selling. This is where the act of buying and selling is going. It's going digital, and eventually it's going to go on a digital all. That's what all this is leading up to, which is Revelation, the 13th chapter, and a few other precepts that you can match up in the Old Testament, in the New Testament, and in the Apocrypha. You know, this is Revelation 13:16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their forehead. So let's read the whole precept. We'll go back into charagma, charax, and then graphos. Revelation 13:17. And that no man might buy or sell, save he had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. You have the charagma. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and his number is 666. If you go into Sophia, I'll just get it real quick because that's usually what I go into when I go into this topic. 1 Corinthians. If you watch this channel, you know where I'm going. 2, blue letter. We'll read 18 one more time. Then whatever brothers got in the precepts for precepts in the comment board, I'll get all those because I'm up. I ain't doing nothing. This is 1 Corinthians 2. 1 Corinthians 2:6, and he reads 1 Corinthians 2:6. Howbeit we speak wisdom among them that are perfect, yet not the wisdom of this world, nor of the princes of this world that come to naught. And that word for wisdom is Sophia, and that word Sophia goes into the wisdom which belongs to men, the very knowledge of things human and divine, the act of interpreting dreams, and always giving the sage's advice, the best advice. Yep, that's the point. That's the point I was looking to get. The intelligence invents in discovering the meaning of some mysterious number or vision. What mysterious number or vision? Revelation 13:18. Here's wisdom. Let him that hath understanding. What is Sophia? The wisdom. The intelligence invents discovering the meaning of some mysterious number or vision. The MOT to the B, the correct understanding of it. That's one of the mysterious visions that a lot of our people don't have down correct. You still got camps out there teaching you it's an embargo and everything's going digital. Buying and selling is going digital. There's not no stations being set up or Causeth for Christianity. They're not setting up John 3:16 stations. It's not sin. It's not white women. They're not setting up the world in a fashion to buy and sell using those currencies, and those breakdowns don't make any more sense. You can't just close the book and say it's Christianity, it's an embargo. Well, what is the embargo? Where is it being set up? Once again, I've said this before. The Spirit's hopping on me to say this. If Esau's not out there pushing it, you don't see Esau doing it out there, and your teacher is teaching you something other than what Esau is out there fulfilling, as far as he's out there fulfilling a digital technocracy and setting up a digital all, and he's setting up the central bank digital currencies to go to blockchain technology, which is NFC and RFID based. They're not setting up John 3:16, white women and embargo as a part of blockchain technology. which is where buying and selling is going, digital. If anybody's teaching anything besides that, you have to really question, is that a man of the Lord? Does that man have foresight or vision? Because the prophets, they're seers, visionaries. They're able to tell you the future before it happens. They're able to go into the breakdowns and make everything make sense by what's going on in the world. Is what your teacher is teaching you, is Esau doing that out in the world? Question that if he's not teaching this, because this is what Esau is doing, and the apostles and elders of Great Millstone have been saying Esau was going to do it 15 years on back before then, 20 years on back, man, probably before then, So just a little food for thought, you can't just close the book and say it's an embargo, it's Christianity, it's a white woman, it's being a cop. That's not what Esau is out there doing in the world. And Esau is the Slovakia. That was my internet. Nah, get out of here. See? I'm cool. I got somebody to send me photos if I need it. Fuck out of here. Slovakia. Where was I at? Did y'all? Damn. I'll just go back into what I was talking about. I don't know where it cut off. I'll just go back into Revelation 13 and 16. And he causeth all, and he causeth all. It's like, let me share my screen. I'll get these last few points and I'll wrap on up. I don't know where it cut off at. Let's see where I was at. Let me check my phone. See where I was at when it cut off. They cut my sound off, bro? Hey, can y'all hear me? They cut my sound off, bro? Oh, man. It's little thou that trusteth in the staff of this broken reed. It's like it, bro. Oh, man. And that word Sophia goes into, it's like it, bro. Okay. I'm just making sure that, y'all, okay, y'all can hear me. I just want to make sure that, Y'all can hear what's coming out, you know. Yeah, they cut me off. It's just my internet where I'm at after so many hours or so on and so forth of using it. They'll have me log back in to the Wi-Fi where I'm at. I'm gonna close on now. I'm gonna get this last point in Revelation 13 and 16. I'm gonna read a few more headers and then I'm gonna close on out. Because yeah, it's been a little while. Yeah, it's been a little while. Man, it's probably the longest sit down I've done, but it's all good though. You know, Lord's, we got edified. I didn't mean to go this long, but hey, it's all good. This is Revelation 13 and 16. And he causeth both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand or in their foreheads. And that word causeth is poeo, which means to set up. But the word that you want to get the understanding of is the charagma, which is something that's physical. You know, once again, every single idol that the heathen has made, our people bow down to, you know, Nebuchadnezzar and the gold statue, that was a carnal idol. You know, once again, this man can't put a spiritual mark on you. You know, there's no such thing as Esau, Edom, the heathen, putting a spiritual mark on you. The only one that can do that are the angels, you know. And that word mark in Ezekiel 9 and 4 is the wa. The word mark in Romans 16 and 17 is scorpeo, which is to put a scope on them, you know, put an eye on them, you know, put a flashlight on them, you know. And the word for mark in Revelation 13 and 16 is charagma. It's three totally different words, you know. Three totally different meanings, you know. That the wa is an exemption from judgment. That's Ezekiel 9 and 4. That's the mark you want to have. And I've heard Camp say that the mark in Revelation 13 and 16 is the same word for mark in Ezekiel 9 and 4, not the same word, you know. Since I'm talking about it, let's just show you real quick. Because we got new believers, new followers, new listeners, new ears, new eyes. Let's just show you real quick. I ain't doing nothing anyway. I'm going this long. Might as well just show it. Ezekiel 9 and 4, and he reads, and the Lord said unto him through the death angel, go to the midst of the city, to the midst of Jerusalem, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. You know? And the angels are the only ones that can put a mark on you, you know, because the angels, you know, they're given direction straight from the Heavenly Father, you know. And they're the only ones through Yahushua that have the authority to do that can put a spiritual mark on you. And that word is ta, that's a ta, and then a wa. Real quick. I'll just show you because I got the alphabet on my phone. I've been going this long. Might as well just show you everything, you know. That's a ta right here. You can see the ta. Oh man, come on. Yep, the ta is right here. The ta. Yep. Where's the ta at? Ta is right here. Oh, it's right here. Right here. I just show it to you. I just pull it up the other way, man. It's all good, bro. That was actually my fault. Because sometimes when I go long, I gotta remind myself to click the Wi-Fi connection right here and log back on and log back off. That was my fault. I'll just show you paleo. I have it saved as a bookmark. I dropped it as one of my lessons. I just show it to you real quick. So I'm up. I ain't doing nothing anyway, man. Fuck it. Right here, boom. You got the whole chart. Let's go to it. So you got the Lashwan Kodash right here, but we'll go to the Assyrian, you know. And you got Ta, and then you got a Wa right there. I'll show it to you right here. So it's Ta and then Wa, you know. And the Hebrew alphabet has 22 characters, you know. Takes a little while to learn, but after a while, you know, you get the hang of it, you know. And it feels good when you get the hang of it because you can go into the words, you can go to the blue letter on your own, you know. The Ta right there, and you got the Wa. You guys, you got right here, ta, and then wa, the wa. There's no V in Hebrew. You got abagada hawazaha, abagada hawazaha tayaka, lamanasa ipa tazakwa rashata. That's the whole Hebrew alphabet, 22 characters. There's no J, E, O, U, V, or X in Hebrew. And that you have tawa right there, which is a mark as a sign of exemption from judgment. That's what it says in Ezekiel 9:4. Totally different word. Let's go to Revelation real quick. Yep, Revelation. Where are we at? Right here. So Revelation 13 and 16. I'll read the precept one more time. I'll go to Charagma, Charax, and then Graphos, and we'll close on now. I'll give a few more of these headlines, and then boom. This is Revelation 13 and 16. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a charagma in their right hand. That word mark is charagma, or in their foreheads, which is something that's physical. That's where society is going. That's what the one article was going into. Since I'm being long-winded, I just showed it to you. And that was the article that really caught my attention. News Punch. Digital IDs is here. Digital. Yep. One right here. And of course, you have Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum, who are basically the spokespersons for the beast system. You have Bill Gates and Elon Musk. You've all know Harari. They're the spokespeople for it, And these digital IDs are going to lead to, I just skimmed through the article, which I probably should have did in the first place. Social credit system, central bank digital currencies, and eventually it's going to lead to smart meters, smart cities, smart borders, and then it leads to implantable microchips, a cashless society. That's where it's going. That's where the end goal is. And that's what Esau Edom is pushing out there in the world. And that's all biblical prophecy. It's right here in Revelation. That word charagma is a mark, which is something that's physical, a stamp and a printed mark. We went into Isaiah 36 and 6, and that word charagma goes into the Greek word charax. That word charax is a pale or a stake or a palisade, pales. Let me see. Yep. A pale or a stake, which is a needle, which puts what? Grapho inside you, which puts the ability for them to store grapho, which is writings, records, and the way records were stored back in the day to fill with writing, records, writings, they were stored on manuscripts. Now we're a little more high tech than they were back in the day. So the way they store manuscripts, records, information, is to, let me see if we get some more meat off the bone right here. Yep. Especially to write. This is the point right here. To write to, by writing, to give information. That's what it's going to store. All of your information, your bank records, your social credit score, your travel status, your social media score, your health records, your inoculation status, so on and so forth, man. And it's all going digital. And the MOTB is something that's physical. You can see it be promoted. Neuralink, Walletmore, and other versions. Let's get these last two articles. Yep, national ID clears congressional hurdle. Fears it could be politically abused. And the last article right here that we have is big tech companies are telling us exactly where the economy is headed in 2023. Collapse, and ultimately they're going to do a great reset, in the form of issuing new currency, that's central bank digital currency that's controlled, the Biden bucks. And the next thing that's rolling out, is the MOT to the B, which the article right here was going into. I think I may have erased it. It's all good. Yep. Central bank digital currencies, social credit systems, social credit scores, just like China, central bank digital currencies, which are programmable, and then it leads to, Smart meters, smart cities, smart borders. A man shall desire to go in the city and shall not be able. Implantable RFID and NFC CHI to the piece. Cashless society. And that's where everything's going. That's where this is leading to. That's what this is leading to. That's what this is all leading to, man. So I'm gonna close on out. That's Big Brother's playbook, and it's actually on another level that's actually Yahweh Shai's playbook, Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai's playbook on another level, it's the Heavenly Father's chip, and the hopeful elect, they have victory over it. They're not going to take it. So with that, I'm gonna close on out. And I kept y'all long enough. It's been about 4 hours. But Lord, you got edified. And in closing, I'm going to give all praise, honor, and infinite glory unto the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash. Giving double honors unto the head apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who do rule well and teach well. Shalom unto the elders and the elder bishops of Great Millstone as well. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings unto the hopeful elect, the men, women, and children listening and learning from the servants of prophecy, Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai, and the hearty shalom to the sincere brethren laboring across the four winds of the earth, giving diligence to make their calling and election sure. Shalom, shalom. And last but not least, a hearty shalom to the sincere brethren laboring across the four winds of the earth. And the DTA and the Men of Valor camps. The first camps I ever heard the truth from, Isaiah 62, verses 6 through 7. Ye that make mention of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai, keep not silence and give him no rest day or night. To Jerusalem is the praise in the earth. So once again, Lord, where you were edified. And until next time, shalom, DTA, wa, abba. So, shalom.